Hey everyone, so it appears that we have no audio from Scotty Powell. Maybe I'm interrupting him. I'm not sure. James, our production, if you're here behind the scenes, let me know what's going on. But I am going to take over this coverage just for a second while Scotty figures out those issues, audio issues. We do have a tornado warning in effect for upstate South Carolina. I'm getting caught up on this. Looks like we've got Cleveland, Slater, and Travelers Rest in this warning, and it is heading to the northeast. We've got a small tornado signature here, a little kink in the velocity line to the west of Cleveland. If y'all give me a second, pardon the silence, but I am going to go pull up the text on this warning real quick that I get caught up. Good. Okay, I can be heard. That is wonderful. Give me a moment, y'all, as I pull this up, and we will keep on rolling with this coverage. But this is the first warning of the day here in the Carolinas. We're not expecting any kind of wide outbreak like they're having in Alabama, but nonetheless, we do have this one warning out. Here we are. So I have the warning pulled up here. This is a radar indicated tornado, and is text data. All right. This tornado warning is in effect for southeastern Transylvania County in western North Carolina, southeastern Henderson County, southwestern Polk, and then down in South Carolina, it is northern Greenville County, northwestern Spartanburg County, and northern Pickens County, all these in upstate South Carolina, those last few. As of 2:40 p.m., this storm was capable of producing a tornado. It was located 10 miles north of Pickens or near Table Rock State Park, moving east at 40 miles per hour. So this thing is moving eastward rapidly at 40 miles per hour if it's on the ground. Right now, it's only radar indicated rotation. We don't have any sign of debris yet on radar, but we do have this velocity couplet, or so it appears. Scotty has pulled up the velocity side by side with the reflectivity. You can see there's a lot of lightning in the storm, so you certainly don't want to be outside, even if you are behind this storm. But those that are in the path of this storm, in the warning, you want to be going and getting into your safe shelter now. Go to the lowest floor of your home, a basement if you can, in the most interior room away from windows. If you're in a mobile home and you have time, move to a nearby home with a more secure shelter, because mobile homes are not where you want to be during tornado warnings, if there is one on the ground. This storm, tracking it out, let's see if we can get some locations. Tracking it out, it's going to be near Jones Gap State Park and Caesar's Head State Park around 3 o'clock. Pleasant Ridge State Park, Tigerville, Slater Marietta, and Travelers Rest around 3:10, and Lake Robinson around 3:20. After, oh, we got you, Scotty.
Okay, good deal. All right, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to go ahead, do what you're doing, and I'll just mute my mic until you're done talking.
Okay, there's one more location to read out, and Campobello and Landrum and Tryon around 3:30 p.m. So we are seeing this storm move off towards east. All of those cities that we just named, you guys are in this tornado warning, and that if this tornado is on the ground, it'll be approaching your area in the next 10 to 20 minutes. So go ahead and take shelter now. Don't put it off for 10 minutes. Go ahead and do it now.
Yeah, thank you for that, Evan. Sorry, my audio is weird. So if we echo, that's why we're not in our typical place we would be doing severe weather coverage right now. But I just want to alert everyone, this is kind of one of those QLCS setups. The National Weather Service talking about these setups could quickly produce a tornado, and then it lasts a minute or two, and then it's finished. So we'll continue to monitor this line, and this is extending from the upstate up into almost up into southern Buncombe County. In fact, the Asheville Regional Airport, they're reporting a thunderstorm. So, Evan, this system, like you said, I heard you say it earlier, not directly associated with the main severe weather that's ongoing in Alabama right now, but this is kind of that surge of warm air that's going to be moving into the area where it could destabilize the atmosphere later on this evening as that line does move into the area.
Yeah, absolutely, Scotty. So we are watching this one storm. It's the only storm that we're monitoring at this moment. Across western North Carolina and northwestern South Carolina, we have a line of heavy rain with some embedded gusty winds and small hail. We've seen hail reports up to half an inch out towards Highland earlier in the day, really earlier in the afternoon. We're now working towards the 3 o'clock hour. This storm will continue to move east across upstate. It makes it easy for us in terms of coverage. We only have to pay attention to this one storm, so we're going to give it all of our focus until this warning is dropped. But if you know someone that lives inside of this warning in Travelers Rest or near Travelers Rest, Landrum, you guys are coming down the line. Campobello, Ermine, trying to look at some other cities in there. Let me pull back up that text data. know anyone in those cities, shoot them a text because they may not know they're under this warning. And you could save a life today if this tornado were to form and start doing damage. Let's see.
Yeah, and Evan, you want to definitely be at the lowest level of your home. Hopefully, if you have a basement, that's the best place. But if not, lowest level, most interior part, put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. So that's like an interior hallway, a pantry, a food pantry. Bathrooms are good, sturdy places. Put as many walls between you and the outside. It's always good to have a helmet on. Also, some type of shoes. So if there was a tornado and you had to walk outside, if there's any debris, you would have shoes there that you don't have to walk over any of that. Looking at another tornado confirmed north of Athens, Georgia, and that's part of this line that's going to be moving into the area. So we're going to watch this thread as well. But currently, this tornado warning, it does clip some of those southern portions of Polk, Henderson, and Transylvania County. But the main area of concern, like Evan was talking about, is going to be there along Highway 11 near the Table Rock State Park. Strawberry Hill, if you're familiar with that area, where you can go out and pick your own strawberries. Also under the gun with this, a lot of strawberry, peach orchards, apple orchards in this area, a lot of farmland. It's north of Greenville, Spartanburg, north of the populated areas. Travelers Rest is pretty populated, but the center where this circulation is going to be passing is right along Highway 11, going through the upstate. Evan, I know you have some friends down in that area. Are you getting any reports from that area?
Not yet. I am rapid firing texts off, trying to get responses here. Thankfully, this is the only one in the area. And if you look at the velocity signatures or the velocity radar that Scotty's got pulled up here on the left-hand side of the screen, there's no exceptionally obvious point where this tornado would be located. It's kind of hard to pick it out. We've got this Boeing line here. We do have that kink. So if a tornado were to form, we'd see it right in the kink where Scotty has his mouse over right now. But at this moment, it doesn't appear like this tornado is on the ground. And it's really over that rural portion of upstate South Carolina coming down off the mountains. As it moves east, it's going to get into some more populated areas like Travelers Rest and Cleveland.
And Evan, you were saying that Bowen line. So if you live in Cleveland, Slater, Travelers Rest, you're going to see some very gusty winds probably in the next 10, 15 minutes as this segment really pulls through. A new tornado warning out. This is going to be for portions of Georgia, Elbert, Franklin, and Hart County. So it's not particularly in our area, but we'll have to watch that as it moves into South Carolina. But again, if you live in Cleveland, Slater, Travelers Rest, be on the lookout for at least some gusty winds. But this is where we are watching the circulation. So if you live in Cleveland, Slater, I know this is more mountainous areas up in this area, but Cleveland and Slater, you want to be in that emergency shelter as this rotation pushes along in north of Highway 11 there in northern Greenville and Spartanburg County.
Yeah, so Scotty, looking at maps and kind of cross-referencing where this bit of rotation is to some roads, it appears like this circulation is going to go north of the downtown areas of Travelers Rest. It'll go near Slater Marietta, but like you said, it's primarily going to stick to that more mountainous terrain, less developed areas. There's some big developments in the area. I know that. I know as it's going to be approaching 25 before too long, there's several big developments there with lots of homeowners. So if you're in one of those developments off 25, just over the state line into South Carolina, take shelter now. I'm going to go ahead and, Scotty, while you talk, I'm going to look into some of these other road names so we can call them out.
Yeah, we'll definitely looking at emergency management. This is back in Georgia and Banks County reports some possible tornado. Storm has some rotation and developing low level appendage. So watching that, but nothing coming out from this particular tornado warning with damage wise. It does continue until 3:30 p.m. We'll have to watch that as it continues to move into the area. So, Evan, again, let me show you what the radar. Well, that's the wrong. I don't know which radar you saw. We've been monitoring Alabama and then the one here. So, again, this is the area of concern, kind of this little area where we see the rotation. But as Evan said earlier, nothing pronounced. And this is a lot of mountainous terrain. So when the winds bounce off the mountains, there can be a lot of veering and things like that to kind of on radar kind of stand out, but it's a very mountainous terrain, so the wind will always do some kind of veering and stuff as it gets into the valleys and stuff. So we'll continue to monitor this again. But if you live in Slater Travelers Rest, Cleveland, there, northern Greenville and Greenville County, be on the lookout because this is going to be a strong push of some gusty winds as it moves into the area. We could see, looking at radar here, 40, 50 mile per hour winds as this pushes through. So we'll continue to watch that. Evan?
Yeah, so Scotty, it looks like this storm is going to be approaching Highway 25 before too long, maybe in the next 10 minutes or so. It's currently located just to the west of Cleveland along Highway 276, otherwise known as Greer Highway, perhaps. The only large residential area that I know of between the state line and Greer Highway is that big Cliffs community out there. So if you're in that community, go ahead and take shelter. Once the storm passes to the east of Highway 25 and past the Cliffs, it will be moving off into the North Saluda Reservoir. And once it gets out into there, it'll at least really be out into no man's land. There's no development out in the reservoir for sustainability reasons. But we are watching this over the next 10 minutes as it approaches the Cleveland area, moves right by Cleveland, and then continues off to the east towards 25. If you're traveling on 25, if you're not to the state line yet, just go ahead and stop and wait it out for about 10 to 20 minutes. If you've passed the state line and you're just barely into upstate South Carolina, get a move on real quick, get on out of there, because that's where that storm's going to be approaching in the next 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah, very, very, and that's a tricky drive anyway in rainy conditions. So definitely be mindful of that. Let's see if we can get the latest radar scan here. It's still kind of messy. Really not seeing anything in particular with this tornado warning. Nothing that kind of just screams and says, hey, there's something there on the ground. But again, if you live in Cleveland and Slater, we are seeing a little bit of lightning uptick. Sometimes that can be telling of the storm starting to strengthen on a little bit. We'll continue to watch that. But again, this is going to be along this line. So it's not like we have this defined supercell. What happens with these storms is we get these little kinks in the line. And when we get this kink in the line, like we do right here, we have inflow and then we have the rear flank. And we kind of get this just quick potential for a spin up tornado before they kind of dissipate and this line continues to run out. So we will watch that. I am going to scan back here. Here's the tornado warning that is in Georgia. This would be more into on the southern upstate towards, let's see, what is that? Anderson County. So we'll continue to watch that as well. That's still a little ways away. We're focusing right now on this potential rotation as it moves. And there's the latest scan, Evan. And now,
Scotty, I'm just seeing a non-moving screen locked in near the Travelers Rest storm.
Okay, can you see it now?
I cannot. That may be my end. There we go. We'll retry it and it'll go.
Yeah, we'll retry it. We'll reset it here. Here you can kind of see that latest radar. And right here is where we could see the rotation. This is going to be coming in Cleveland along Highway 276. Just this little edge here. But again, Evan, nothing really screams out. It looks like we do have Frank.
Hey, Scotty, real quick, I'm going to hop on and I'm going to real quick interrupt. Frank, could you throw yourself on mute real quick? You got a lot of background noise coming from you.
Hey, yes, just trying to get Bluetooth issues straightened out here, but hopefully they're solved now. Do I sound good now?
Yeah, you sound good now. Sorry, Scott. I just wanted to clear that up before the audio noises took over.
No worries. Frank, go ahead.
All right. So I am in northern Spartanburg County right now. I'm close to Woodfin and Travelers Rest, I guess. And the first thing I can tell you right now for this tornado warning, you are not going to see it coming. It will be rain wrapped. I can guarantee you that. It is raining. It's coming down pretty good. If there's a tornado, you won't see it coming at you. So if you want to protect yourself, you need to just go to your safe area, your interior room, your basement, whatever you hopefully have already planned out for situations like this. Also, I'm noticing there is a lot of northbound traffic on I-26 here, north of Spartanburg. Those folks may end up regretting traveling that way. If you're thinking about heading out of Spartanburg going north into this tornado warned area, don't do that right now. Wait till these storms get by you. That's not a situation you want to be in, because you can very suddenly find yourself in deep trouble with a tornado bearing down on you that you haven't seen because it's rain wrapped.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But at the moment, right now, I'm well ahead of where the storm is, so or where the area of rotation is at this point. So I'm not seeing any rotation just yet, and probably won't, because it's completely overcast with a very low ceiling. So I'm mildly concerned for my safety and trying to make sure I have the proper bearings here before I attempt to proceed any further north, and maybe even turn around and head back a little bit to the south here, trying to make certain I know where I am. Yeah, I just crossed over I-26 here, not at an exit. I'm a little north of Boiling Springs right now, so I'm just outside the warned area to the east. So if there was anything to be seen, I wouldn't see it from here, but I am on the lookout here and trying to get myself into a safe spot to view anything of interest that might come out. Kevin?
Yeah, I was just going to say, Frank, so that storm is about 30 minutes away from 26 currently. So folks in that area do have a bit of time to prepare. Go ahead and start preparations now. I know the tornado warning extends out to right about the 26 corridor there by Campobello, and let me pull up a couple of other city names. You'd think I know them all after living in this area for so many years. Landrum and Inman. Inman, you're just outside of the very end of that tornado warning. We'll see if the saying gets reissued, if there are any new updates. I did see an update come through. The tornado warning has been dropped for portions of, or all areas in Transylvania County. So the storm has moved east through and into Cleveland. It's currently right over Cleveland, South Carolina, and upstate South Carolina, moving east at around 40 miles per hour. It's going to kind of go along and parallel this Highway 11, I think that's the name, the Greer Highway corridor, to the east of Cleveland, as that will eventually intersect 25. So Scotty, a pretty serious situation. We don't have any proof that there's a tornado on the ground, but nonetheless, a warning in effect should be taken seriously.
Yeah, and the newest update just come out in Pickens County. You've been dropped from this morning, so this is now for northern Greenville and northern Spartanburg County, and then southern Polk. I'm sorry, not southern. Yeah, southern Polk and Henderson County in North Carolina. And again, some of those locations the Weather Service was pointing out: Tigerville around 3:20, Tryon there in Polk County around 3:30, Columbus, Landrum, and Campobello at 3:40 p.m. As the storm continues to race off, and it's moving pretty quickly, moving to the east at around 40 to 45 miles per hour. So pretty fast-moving storm as it continues to move off. Evan, I know this is on the fly. I need to go do something while I'm here at work for like 10 minutes. Can I give you the coverage for about 10 minutes and be right back?
Absolutely. Yeah, go ahead and kill your screen share, and I'll take it with mine.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. All right, y'all. So if you're watching now, it is 3 p.m. on Thursday, March 25th. We're watching one tornado warned storm in upstate South Carolina currently. That is moving east at about 40 miles per hour, currently located near Cleveland, South Carolina. This is up in that mountainous terrain, right along the edge of the Blue Ridge Escarpment. So I'm going to share my screen. I'll bring up some radar for y'all, and we will start looking. We've got Frank straight with us. He is live down in upstate South Carolina, not too far from Spartanburg on 26. The storm will be approaching him in the next 30 minutes. But currently, like I said, it's located right here near Cleveland, South Carolina. We're looking at this little kink in the line right about here. And sorry, give me a second, folks, and get everything situated. But we've got this kink in the line, and that's really what the National Weather Service is watching for potential tornadic development. That's where we could see a quick spin up. Oftentimes, these things could even go unnoticed by the radar. So there may be a tornado ongoing or certainly quite imminent in this area, and they could be quite transient in nature. with lots of lifting as they go along. Slater Marietta, it appears you guys have just passed that initial thump of heavy rain and high winds. Perhaps you're in it right now. In the next 10 minutes or so, you'll be in the clear, but stay in your safe place for now. Highway 25, this is rapidly approaching you. If you're on 25 between South Carolina or between the North Carolina South Carolina border and Travelers Rest, you guys need to be taking shelter if you can. If you're near a business and you can stop there and go inside, take shelter there, that would be ideal. If you're approaching the South Carolina North Carolina border from the north, go ahead and stop, wait this out for about 10 to maybe 20 minutes or so the storm can pass. You don't want to be traversing this section of road between Travelers Rest and the state border at this moment. Looking further to the east, this will be approaching Landrum and Tryon, Campobello, and maybe just to the north of Inman over the next 30 minutes. We talked with Frank a few minutes ago, and he is on 26, I-26 corridor. You guys are maybe 25 minutes out from seeing this storm impact you. Regardless of whether there's a tornado on the ground, the situation needs to be taken seriously because there are these conditions are quite conductive for tornadic development. And even if there is no tornado, there is this Boeing segment of storms right here where we could see wind gusts up to 50, 60 miles per hour as that passes over your area. Travelers Rest, you guys are just on the south side of this tornado warning. It looks like whatever main area of circulation the National Weather Service is watching will go just to your north, but you're going to get a pretty nasty storm here in the next 10 minutes as it approaches you from the west. We can see here, you see this line that I just had highlighted. This is where we're really going to be seeing those 50-mile-per-hour gusts and this arcing line right here. And then this right there is where we're going to be watching for potential tornadic development and spin up. I'll go ahead and pull up this tornado warning. It's been a little bit since we read it, and there's been an update. This is in effect for another 19 minutes. So it's in effect until 3:30 p.m. for southeastern Henderson in North Carolina, southwestern Polk in North Carolina. Down in South Carolina, it's in effect for northern Greenville and northwestern Spartanburg counties. So as of about 3 o'clock, a severe thunderstorm was capable of producing a tornado. That was located a little, 14 miles southeast of Brevard. We're really more near Pleasant Ridge State Park, moving east at 40 miles per hour. That's not too far from Cleveland, South Carolina. We're watching for a tornado here. Currently, there is no confirmed tornado. It's just radar indicated rotation. We're monitoring that rotation for a potential tornadic touchdown. But nonetheless, you want to be inside in your safe space. Go ahead and go to the lowest part of your home. If it's a basement, that would be ideal. You want to be in an interior room away from windows. If you're in a mobile home, you need to try to get elsewhere. If you have enough lead time, you need to be going to a nearby home, a more sturdy place of shelter, because mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed by any type of tornado if that were to develop. Even in more permanent homes, damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles will occur, and lots of tree damage is likely. We're going to see that tree damage occur along that Boeing segment that I pointed out a few moments ago. That tree damage will not just be limited to the tornado warned area, but we could be watching for some straight line wind in that Boeing segment. Looking out down the line, Tigerville, you guys are going to be under the gun about 3:20 p.m. Tryon 10 minutes later at 3:30, and then further down the line about 3:40, so 30 minutes from now, we're going to be looking at the storm moving through Columbus, Landrum, and Campobello. A couple other locations in this warning: Glassy Mountain, Bowensville, Cleveland, and North Saluda Reservoir. Cleveland, it appears that this storm has moved past you just a little bit. Cleveland's right in here, and we're seeing that Boeing segment take over right here. So it's just past Slater Marietta. And you guys can see that this right here highlighted is Highway 25. So we're watching that for, there's going to be lots of traffic on this road, and that storm is going to be pushing over it right now. We had Frank on a few moments ago, and he was saying, and absolutely correct, in that if you're watching on your porch and waiting to see this tornado before you take shelter, you're never going to see it. This tornado, if it's occurring, will be completely, entirely rain wrapped. So you want to be inside taking shelter ahead of time before you see it, because you really will never see it. I don't know, Frank, can we get an update from you on where you are? If I don't see you go on mute, then I'll keep on chatting. But we do have Frank straight in upstate South Carolina chasing and spotting this storm. Frank, do you have an update?
Yes, I do, and not a whole lot has changed where I am. I'm still in the vicinity of I-26. I just got off at exit 10 Highway 292, and have pulled in here for the moment to kind of get a better assessment of the situation. And yeah, here we're just seeing some rain, and what would otherwise appear to be a rather stable and wedge type situation with some areas of fog here, about 10 miles south of the North Carolina state line here. So actually, I'm not, again, totally not actually in the warned area, just to the east of there, but I can see the storm. The rotation does seem to be holding together fairly well on radar. So going to kind of hang out here because this seems to be a spot where if the storm holds together, it will get to me. And I'm not the most familiar with the roads that are in this part of Spartanburg County in upstate South Carolina. So I'm going to stay in this area and see if this one will come to me. I think that's probably my best choice here. But where I am, there is not a whole lot to get excited about at this point, with just low ceilings and rain coming down. But let me reemphasize, those of you who are in the warned area, you will want to be taking shelter right now if you're out ahead of this storm, if it hasn't hit you yet, because as Evan said, this is going to be a rain-wrapped tornado if we have a tornado, and it is not going to be something you'll be able to see coming at you. So don't wait on visual cues. You'll want to be in your sheltered area.
Absolutely.
You, Evan.
Yeah. Thank you, Frank. Thanks for the update. And we are continuing to watch the storm and monitor it as it moves through upstate South Carolina. I'm going to stop and restart the screen share real quick just to keep things fresh and keep things from locking up. But we're watching this one tornado warning, upstate South Carolina, currently crossing right over Highway 25. So this is Highway 25 right in here. I'll go ahead and draw it on the map for y'all. Highway 25 right here, and we're watching this tornado or this area of rotation right in here for the potential of tornadic development. If you flip over to the velocity imagery, we can see this bowing segment. And oftentimes this is what we're watching for, these little kinks in the radar. This is where we could see some kind of tornadic development, quick spin ups. They oftentimes may go unnoticed on radar. So we've got this warning extended out to the east just to account for the potential of a quick spin up. One thing we haven't talked about in a little while is kind of the big picture. Across western North Carolina and upstate South Carolina, we do have this big precipitation shield moving over. We do have this big precip shield moving over and moving to the north and east. We've got that one tornado warning right in the middle of the screen. That's the one that we've been chatting about. That's to the east of Cleveland, South Carolina, currently crossing over 25, area of rotation crossing over 25. But further to the south and west, we do have I believe it was a confirmed tornado just to the north and east of Athens, and that will be rapidly approaching South Carolina. We may see this warning extended into South Carolina in the next few minutes. But this is just radar indicated rotation. Okay, so this is not a confirmed tornado, but nonetheless, there is radar indicated rotation on a storm just to the west of the Georgia-South Carolina border near Hartwell, Georgia. Here in the next little while, this will be crossing over into South Carolina. And we're going to have to watch areas like Homeland Park, Anderson, Belton, Neopath, as that storm moves into the area. Also could be a rather prolific hail producer. We see this area of lots of pink and red. We could be seeing some half-inch size hail in there that can move into the upstate. Even outside of these warnings, in some of the areas of moderate and heavy rain, we've got some pretty prolific lightning ongoing. Areas like Rutherford County, Polk County, Buncombe, southeastern Buncombe County, we do have all of these lightning strikes ongoing in this area, even Morganton and just to the west of Morganton. So it's just not a good day to be outside. All across West North Carolina, it's not comfortable to be outside, so go ahead and come on in. Go ahead and come on inside and don't worry about any outdoor chores for the next few hours as this heavy rain and lightning threat moves off to the east. we've mentioned briefly the storms ongoing in Alabama today, and this is a large sweeping system, but nonetheless, what we're looking at here in the Carolinas is not nearly as prolific as what they're experiencing down in Alabama. We've got this one warning currently ongoing, but we don't expect a tornado outbreak at all. We're watching this one as well as watching the one that's crossing over the South Carolina Georgia border over the next 15 to 20 minutes. Zooming back in, we'll take a little check on this. It looks like we may have gotten a new radar scan. Let's flip over to velocity. Still kind of hard to tell if there is any tornado on the ground. There's no super well-defined area of rotation, but nonetheless, with this little kink in the line, there's lots of little spots of rotation. Those are the ones you want to be watching for. And we've mentioned before, we'll mention it again. This radar, this area of rotation right in and along Highway 25 right now is going to be completely rain wrapped. You won't be able to see it. So if you're watching this storm as it approaches you, you will never see the tornado. So don't wait until, we just got a scan. Don't wait until you see it to take shelter. If you're in the warning, go ahead and take shelter immediately. Just got a new radar scan on reflectivity. Looks like we're still waiting for a new velocity scan. But with this new reflectivity scan, kind of still eyeing that area just to the east of Highway 25. This is where we're going to be seeing that circulation. The Cliffs community is right in here. That's a rather large community of folks. If you're in that community, go ahead and take shelter immediately. Lowest level of your home, away from windows, most interior room. This is going to be quickly moving off into the North Saluda Reservoir, this area right in here. And that is a very remote area. There's no development in there for sustainability reasons. So we're thankful for that. We're going to have a little window, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, when this won't be threatening many homes. But before too long, we're not looking at maybe just another 20 minutes until this is approaching the I-26 corridor here, Tryon, Campobello, Landrum, down across the North Carolina, South Carolina state border. Let's zoom back out. Let's see if we've got that new velocity scan in. We do. All right, perfect. So new velocity scan. Once again, hard to pick out any well-defined areas of rotation, but somewhere in here, and this is obviously moving off to the north and east. We're getting a weird little storm track vector here. So I will go ahead and disable that. I don't know how to disable that, so we'll do it later. But nonetheless, we don't have any damage reports quite yet. I haven't seen any come through. Looking over at the correlation coefficient, oftentimes we can refer to this as debris tracker. You can see these areas of blue and gray. This is where the mountains are, or the radar beam is actually hitting the mountains, because the storm is right along the Blue Ridge Escarpment. This is not any kind of debris that's being lofted up. We would really be looking for an area of blue and gray away from those mountains further to the south. Again, this is a tough area to be looking at the radar. The mountains interact with it and can make for a rather messy reflectivity and velocity data. And actually, you can see this area of rotation, which is right here, is getting ready to move into the North Saluda Reservoir right here. And that is an area that has a lot of beam blockage from the mountains right in there. So we're watching that. We're going to be seeing this as it moves off to the north and east. I am going to zoom out and go check on that storm to the south. Pretty impressive hail core, it looks like, just to the north of Hartwell, Georgia. This is only a few miles from crossing into South Carolina. We'll see if the National Weather Service reissues this. Let's see, this was issued by the National Weather Service. Let's see, that's your weather statement. Yeah, this was issued by NWS GSP, which is in Greenville, Spartanburg, South Carolina. So we may see them reissue that in a matter of moments as it crosses into South Carolina. We're watching that closely. There's been some areas of rotation in it. I believe it was a confirmed tornado earlier. Currently, nothing super well defined. So we'll just continue to monitor it for the potential of tornadic development. Further up here, along and to the east of Highway 25, we have seen that potential area of rotation push east of 25. Highway 25 is right in here. and it is now east over here. This is where we're watching that line kind of form, and then the kink in the line right here. That's where we could potentially be seeing some kind of rotation. Travelers Rest, Slater Marietta, it looks like you guys are now in the clear, but Landrum, Campobello, Tryon, even Inman, you guys are going to be under the gun here real soon. Areas and anyone driving on 26, the storm's going to be approaching you. Even if you aren't hit by a tornado while you're driving on 26, this is going to have prolific heavy rain and high winds, which are going to make for nasty driving conditions. So go ahead and pull off, take shelter if you're in that area. If you haven't quite gotten to the portions of I-26 between Landrum, Campobello, Tryon, and Inman, just go ahead and stop and wait it out for another 30 minutes or so as this storm approaches the area. We've got Frank Straight out in the field. I'm actually going to toss to him real quick so I can go grab a sip of water. Frank, what are you seeing right now?
Well, at the moment now, I've decided to move a little bit, and I'm roughly midway between Inman and Campobello on SC 176 here. And as you can see from the camera, we don't really have what you would expect to see in a tornado warning situation. We have low overcast and fog, rain coming down, but at the moment, no sign of any circulation, which I don't expect because I'm a good 8 to 10 miles east of this area of greatest concern. Those of you who might be watching from Landrum, Campobello, or Inman, you'll want to get into your safe spot now as this tornado warned storm approaches you. As we've said many times, you will not see this coming, assuming we do have a tornado here, and we should act as though we do, because there's clear sign of rotation showing up on radar still. Assuming we do have a tornado, then you're not going to see it coming at you. The visibility is poor because of the fog and the rain that's coming down. And you're not going to see a tornado coming at you if that's what's going on here. So get into your safe spot now. If you're in northern Greenville, northeastern Greenville, northern Spartanburg County in this warned area, do as James Spann would say and respect the polygon and get into your safe location. And stay off the roads. I see there's quite a bit of traffic coming by in this area, and frankly, it's probably not the greatest idea in the world for me to be on the road right now. And people who do not understand what they're up against, like these folks passing in front of me right now on 176, you shouldn't be on the road right now. You should be in shelter or moving your way out of this warned area right now. So I'm going to kind of hang out in this area for now, as the most dangerous part of the storm is going to pass either right over me or just to the north. May reposition a little bit toward Campobello. I'll be watching the radar here to see what goes on, but I'm not all that optimistic of being able to see any kind of rotation in the cloud or on the ground if it's in this area, just because the visibility is so poor. Evan, are you back?
I'm here,
Or
Frank.
Scotty?
Yeah,
Hey,
I'm
Scotty.
here. So I was going to say, while you were talking, Spartanburg County District Schools are keeping students inside, as well as any buses that were out are being rerouted to the closest school because of this tornado warning. Another heartbreaking news. I'm not sure if you guys have heard this yet. Our friend James Spann's house has been hit by a tornado that's went through Alabama. So our thoughts are with him, and hope everything is good there with those tornadoes going through Alabama. So he was on air covering the tornado as it hit his school. Definitely keep in touch with James and make sure everything's good there. But let's go back to our attention here in the upstate. This tornado warning continues. We've got a new tornado warning, Evans. If you want to get your radar up on the new one, I'll keep ours on this one until you get yours up. But this new tornado warning, or is this it's going to continue for 4:15, and this is going to be in the Anderson County area. So I think, Evan, If you've got radar scope up, I'll give it to you and you can read off that new warning, and then we'll go back to talking about the other one. I'll let you cover that storm. I'll take the northern storm if you want.
All right, yes, got it. So this storm is going to be the one we were just looking at a few moments ago. It's just now crossing into South Carolina. I will share my screen for y'all. Again, as we've said with both of these storms so far this afternoon, we're struggling to pick out areas of rotation, well-defined areas of rotation, but we do have these broad areas of rotation. I've yet to have this tornado warning populate on my screen, but it's going to be this general area right in here: Anderson, Belton, Homeland Park, perhaps a little bit more cut off. So we are going to be watching this area: Homeland Park, Anderson, Belton, as the storm moves to the north and more so towards the east at about 50 miles per hour. You guys can see it's this line right here. It's likely got a pretty significant hail core in it, with at least some half-inch, quarter-sized hail crossing the state line right about now towards Star. Iva, you guys are going to be on the southern end of this, if I had to guess. Hanea Path. Let's see. It's yet to populate on my end. And this, Scotty said this is going to go till 4:15.
I can pop that up for you. Let me get.
Let's see. I'm pulling up the text data real quick.
Here is going to be the new warning. This is going to be in effect down here. This is going to be moving into Anderson, Star, Belton. So this is going to be south of the Greenville-Spartanburg Metro. So southern Greenville County as well as Anderson County. So Evan, you got the text up?
I got it now. Thanks, Scotty. So now I have my radar app has updated, and I now have this new warning. So as we said, Hanea Path, Belton, Anderson, Homeland Park, Star, Iva, you guys are all under the gun for this new tornado warning. This is right near the Georgia-South Carolina state line, eastern Hart County, northeastern Georgia. Not normally an area that we cover, but since it is also underneath this tornado warning, we'll give it a call out. Southeastern Greenville County, central Anderson County, and northeastern Abbeville County, and upstate South Carolina. These are the areas that need to be going ahead and getting into your safe shelter. That's going to include the cities of Homeland Park, Star, Anderson, Iva, Belton, Hanea Path, and Ware Shoals. Also Fork Shoals, Princeton, Sadlers Creek State Park, and Broadway Lake. If you live in or near any of those areas, you need to be going ahead and move to the basement or an interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. Avoid windows. If you're outside or in a mobile home or in a vehicle, move to the closest substantial shelter and protect yourself from flying debris. You don't want to be caught outside in this. Flying debris is going to be deadly, and we could see a significant amount of tree damage occur even outside of the tornado itself if that were to form.
And then good news, the tornado warning for the upstate and portions of Henderson and Polk County, that tornado warning has expired. So this is going to be the only storm right now. This is going to be moving out of Georgia, out over Lake Hartwell. This is going to be moving into the Star, Belton, Homeland Park community. So Anderson, it looks like this circulation may pass to your south, but even though you're still in the polygon, so take those proper precautions as well. So
Scotty, it's tough to pick out an area of rotation in this. I mean, obviously we do have this large area of mid-level rotation, but it's tough to see where exactly that tornado may be forming, and that's a good thing, right? We don't want to see any type of really strong rotation on the radar. I haven't looked at correlation coefficient, but it doesn't appear that this tornado is on the ground at the moment. It is just a suspected area of rotation, radar indicated. So we're going to continue to monitor that as it approaches Star. You guys are going to be probably the first ones under the gun from this storm in the next 5 minutes or so as it approaches your area. Anderson, Scotty said it best. Anderson is likely going to go to your south. Homeland Park, you guys could get into some of the heavy rain and hail. But again, it does look like this area of rotation is going to go just to your south. Not too wrapped up, not too tight on radar currently. So we're thankful for that. Doesn't appear to be one on the ground at the moment, but that could drop out of the sky at any given moment. These storms change quickly, and all the ingredients are there for this tornado warning to have been issued. So locations further down the line: Hanea Path, Donalds, Belton, Princeton. You guys are right on the line of the tornado warning. Go ahead and start moving towards your safe place, lowest level of your home, away from windows. Basement would be preferred if you're in a mobile home or a car. Move to a more substantial shelter because you are not safe in that mobile home or vehicle.
Yeah, Evan, just goodness, while you were talking about that, I'm just reading these reports from James Spann, and I just my heart goes out to him and what's going on down there. So we'll keep you up to date with that. But like Evan said, this rotation not too clear, so that even though we're not seeing it, doesn't mean that we can't see something quickly spin up. As you get into South Carolina, North Carolina, it's kind of been rain cooled. We've not had that instability to work with as they have down into Alabama, Mississippi. So it's entering a more stable environment. But the thinking is possibly as this initial round moves through, there could be some clearing, even though we're working with not a lot of daylight left after this moves through, that we could see some additional storms develop overnight tonight. But needless to say, no tornado watch or anything out, just this one tornado warning that is moving in from Georgia into Anderson County. And this is going to be south of Anderson. So, that's the more populated area. The rotation or what is there, looking at CC, nothing really stands out either, but Star, Ivan, and then over towards Gluck, just be in your safe place as this rotation quickly moves through. I mean, these storms are quick movers. They are moving. Let me get the Weather Service text here.
I think it's 55 miles an hour.
Yeah, 55 miles an hour. So, these are going to be quick moving storms. So by the time we get a radar scan, that radar scan is old because of the movement of these storms. So it's just safe to be in your safe place. Again, if you live in this area, Star, Homeland Park, Anderson, Belton, Princeton, Honan Path, Donalds, all be in your safe place as the storm moves through. I just heard the Weather Service. That is not for our area. So again, the tornado warning that we were covering earlier in Greenville and Spartanburg County, as well as Henderson and Polk County, that was allowed to expire at 3:30. So the only tornado warning now that we are watching is for Abbeville, Anderson, and Southern Greenville County. That goes until 4:15, so another 35 minutes or so. But as quick as these storms are moving, we'll start to see the back edge of these polygons get shaved off with future updates just because of the storm motion.
Yeah, absolutely, Scotty. One other thing to note, besides just the wind, hail, and tornado threat, we also have some pretty prolific lightning ongoing with this storm, as well as several other storms across the western portion of the Carolinas. But particularly with this one, we just saw a lightning strike, which you can see right here. That's 7 miles out ahead of the storm, out in, underneath. I'm going to call it clear skies. You may not be seeing blue skies, but at least in an area where there's not currently, there's no heavy rain ongoing. So if you're in this warning, if you're anywhere within 10 miles of the storm, or you can hear the thunder roaring, go ahead and go indoors. If you're in this tornado warning, you want to be taking shelter immediately. This tornado, once again, like the one to its north earlier, if it's occurring, will likely be rain wrapped. You will not be able to see it. Star, you guys are going to be under the gun real soon. You've seen this area of rotation approach you quickly. We're currently looking at a 7-minute-old radar image, so this will likely get an update in the next few moments. But at 55 miles an hour, Scotty, this storm has moved several miles to the east, but in 7 minutes, that's close to 7 miles to the east. Yeah. That's the difference between, about that far. So this storm could be over Star currently, maybe even just to the east of Star, moving towards Path.
Yeah, definitely. So be in those areas. Got another chirp here, so we'll see if that's from our weather service, which it is not. But again, this tornado warning until 4:15. But like Evan was just talking about, these are quick moving. So if you live in Star, you're probably experiencing it. If you live more towards the Reed Creek area, that threat has passed. So again, this is going to be south of Anderson. The circulation is going to be south of Anderson. You're likely seeing some heavy rain in Anderson, some lightning, probably some gusty winds. But the area of concern right now is going to be south of you. This potentially could move into Lawrence County, and then towards starting to get into the Columbia metro area over the next hour or so. So just be mindful of that if you live down path of this warning. And we're continuing to see warnings back over Georgia into Alabama. So the severe weather threat's not over after these storms pass through. Looks like we got a new extension there, Evan. Or is that the same polygon? It may be the same polygon. Yeah, I think it is same polygon. So again, yeah, it's the same polygon. So again, you know, these storms are moving quickly. So if you are in this path, you want to go ahead and be in the lowest level of your home. As many walls between you and the outside as possible.
Absolutely.
These are most likely rain wrapped as well. A lot of rain with these systems. Go ahead, Evan.
Yeah, sorry, Scott. I had myself on mute there a few moments ago. I apologize for the awkward silence. We did just get a new radar scan in, at least on the reflectivity side. We'll have to wait a few more moments. There it is for the velocity scan. Still no super well-defined area of rotation. It has moved over and likely just to the east of star now as we get this. Star, you guys are probably right under the area of rotation at this moment. So we're looking right in here. I suspect maybe even a little bit further south along this line, down towards Iva for potential areas of rotation that could produce a tornado. Nothing well defined. Certainly some gusty winds and some hail ongoing with that storm near star. This is pegged at half-inch hail currently, so about quarter-sized hail expected just to the west and north of Star, South Carolina. Like we said, Scotty, this is still the same tornado warning. It extended all the way out. I mean, it's a long, elongated warning because the storm is moving so quickly. It goes to a 4:15, but Princeton, Ware Shoals, you guys are just outside of this warning polygon, so it may not be prompting your cell phones yet. But know that you're only just a quarter mile, half a mile outside of this warning polygon. And when it's reissued, you may be in that reissuance if it is reissued. So we're going to be watching y'all in the next 20 minutes or so as it approaches you. Belton, Anderson, Homeland Park seems like the strongest area of rotation is going to go to your south. You'll still be battling those gusty winds, heavy rain, and small hail as it does move. And continuing to see this pretty frequent lightning, Scotty, out towards Naya Path, and anywhere within 10 miles of the storm is seeing it even out under the somewhat clearer skies ahead of the storm. Scotty, I have a phone call. I got to hop off.
Okay, that's good. We'll take it over here. So again, this tornado warning until 4:15. Again, no circulation that really just stands out to us, but it that definitely means that you should be in your safe place right now. So we're going to let's see if we can stop Evan's screen here. Get into our screen. Let me maybe not. So we'll swap video and share screen. That's what we're going to do. Let's check in with Frank here. Frank, looks like you've got some pretty heavy rain going on where you are.
Oh yeah, it's really pouring here. I moved up to Landrum, and I'm on the south side of Landrum right now, approaching the downtown area. And there's definitely a lot of standing water because it's pouring very hard here. Clouds certainly were looking spooky a minute ago. Not a lot of wind. It is blowing a little bit. I'm guessing gusting to maybe 20 to 25 miles an hour. What remains of that rotation, I think, is right over me, but it's likely too far aloft. I don't think that any portion of that is reaching the ground right now, but a little windy and certainly raining pretty hard here. My understanding that the tornado warning has been canceled appears to be a reasonable decision, but nonetheless, I'm for the moment sticking with this storm. I'm about to drive through Landrum over toward I-26 and then try to duck back south from there.
We appreciate that report, Frank. Stay safe out there, especially that heavy rain. And that's another component. A lot of heavy rain with this system, and some portions of the upstate, Southwest North Carolina, could see some flooding concerns, and those could even translate up into the mountains and foothills of North Carolina later on this evening. I know here in Morganton, it is absolutely pouring the rain right now here in the foothills.
Actually, I'm in downtown Landrum right now, and it appears that some flooding is starting to occur here in downtown Landrum. I'll try to point the camera over that way and see how well you can see it. That the sidewalk there is flooded, and I guess I'm driving out of that low spot, but there was some flooding, and it was almost, the water was coming up to the level of those shops there on the right side of the road back there in the downtown area of Landrum, which I'm starting to head out of right now.
Well, thank you for that, Frank, and stay safe out there. We definitely want to keep you with that, keep you on the safe side of that. But again, we are watching this system, this rotating thunderstorm moving into southern Greenville County as well as Pickens County. Let me go ahead and get the screen on and show you what's going on. You can see we've got the correlation coefficient. Nothing really standing out here. We got a little bit of looks more like linear now, so that's a good sign, at least in my opinion, that that things are starting to quieten down a little bit. Although we're going to have some gusty winds with this. You can see anywhere wind gusts 50 to 60 mile per hour. Tornado warning has been expired for Elbert and Hart County in Georgia. So that's kind of this back part of this polygon as it moved in from Georgia. So this is going to be canceled. So we're continuing to watch this storm move into areas here. Moving quickly, 55 miles per hour. So due west, you're not in this polygon, but you're just on the outskirts. We have Donalds there, Ware Shoals again, Princeton. You are also in this, as well as Anderson and Belton. But if you live back towards Reed Creek, you are good to go. Anderson, the core of this storm is passing just to your south, so you are pretty good. And then Star, the core of that storm is just now moved through. So we will continue to watch this, Evan, as these tornado warning continues for another 30 minutes if it's not allowed to expire early. Again, I don't really see anything crazy on radar right now that just screams to me.
Yeah, I agree, Scotty. Obviously, we always defer to the National Weather Service. They are the pros of this. They are the ones that have issued this warning for very good reason. But we are watching it, and we're not seeing any signs of a very significant tornado ongoing at the moment. It's worth noting, oftentimes tornadoes, especially in the Carolinas, if they're embedded in these little lines, they can spin up real quick before the radar really even notices them, and sometimes even between radar scans. So if you're in the warning, no matter what, go ahead and take shelter. We want you to be safe, particularly if you're in areas such as Hanea Path, Princeton, Ware Shoals. Ware Shoals, I know you're not in the warning, especially if you're on the eastern half of town. You will be soon if this is reissued. So go ahead and be ready for that. Just as a reminder to everyone that's looking to get into their safe place, that kind of what you're looking for is you want to move to the basement or interior room of the lowest floor of a sturdy building of your home. Avoid windows. If you're outdoors in a mobile home or in a vehicle, move to the closest substantial shelter and protect yourself from flying debris. And remember, guys, if you guys have seen any kind of damage with this or with the tornado warning that we had earlier up in northern Greenville County up towards the mountains near Cleveland, South Carolina, that crossed 25. If you have any kind of damage to report it to the National Weather Service. You can report it to us on social media, Carolina Weather Group on Facebook, Carolina WX Group on Twitter, NWS GSP on Twitter as well. Those are all great ways to report any and all damage reports. But currently, we're looking at this one storm near Star, South Carolina, just to the south of Anderson. Looks like some pretty gusty winds in there, Scotty. Maybe some small areas of rotation that we're just going to have to continue to monitor as it moves off to the east at 55 miles an hour or so with this warning.
Yeah, you're right, Evan. Was focusing in here on this little, I don't know if that's just a little pixelated or not, but we'll continue to watch that. Our radar estimates are showing, we could see 52, 55 mile per hour winds as my cursor goes over. It kind of just pops up an estimated radar look. And I need to charge my charger real quick because I don't want the battery to die. So let me grab that right quick. And
No worries, Joe. Obviously, this
there we
was
go. I got it. We're good.
we did just
So,
get an update to that.
So the update continues for Abbeville and Anderson County.
Yeah, so it looks like they may have canceled locations back behind Star. Is that what I'm looking at properly, Scotty?
Yeah, that's definitely what it looks like. Anderson, Homeland Park, and Belton, you're still in this warning, but it's like Star, you should be good to go with that. Storm, the back edge is passing through right now into Iva. So Reedy Creek, Sandy Springs, you're on the safe side. You're good. Again, we're watching this area right here. If anything pops up, it would be in this general vicinity. Some gusty winds for sure occurring, 50, 60 mile per hour wind gusts. Again, rotation, there's some there, but nothing that's just pronounced. And these are going to be rain wrapped anyway. So if there was a tornado to occur, we most likely wouldn't see it just because most of these are going to be rain wrapped, Evan. And,
Yeah.
Its visibility is just not there.
Absolutely. And there's a new scan. That area of rotation even looks a bit stronger there near Scotty. That doesn't appear to be any kind of radar artifact. That needs to be watched. I mean, let's stick with your radar. You certainly have the best setup here. My radar scope has a nasty color table. But Star, Iva, you guys seem to be just to the west of this area of circulation now. We are watching that approach. Let's see, what highway is that coming out of Anderson? Let me flip over to some Google Maps.
Highway 20.
Okay.
Highway 20 and 28. Between Highway 20 and 28.
Okay. So Highway 20, Highway 28, that's going to be approaching you. If you're on the road, go ahead and move to a more substantial shelter, a business, if they'll let you in. Go ahead and go into a business and take shelter there because you'll be far more safe indoors than you will be in a vehicle. If you're in Hanea Path, Belton, somewhere to the further, a little bit to the east, let's see, who else do we got out there? Ware Shoals, and Princeton. Yeah, that's the one I was looking for on the map. If you're in any of those areas and you're in a mobile home, go ahead and move to another more substantial shelter. That's not where you want to be in the case of a tornado. You want to be in a substantial shelter, away from exterior walls and windows. We would prefer that you be in a basement. That's by far and away the safest place. Scotty, we talked with James Spann the other night on air, and it was one of those conversations where we talked about how to prepare yourself for tornado warnings. One of the things that was brought up multiple times, I know Scotty, you brought it up, James brought it up, was how helmets are very important if you're going to your safe place. If you're going to your safe place, go ahead and take a helmet with you. The majority of tornado victims, they die because of head injuries. So go ahead and even just a cheap bicycle helmet, bring it with you into your safe place. Bring shoes with you. If there were to be tornado damage, if your home were to be destroyed, you don't want to have to walk around barefoot in a pile of shrapnel with nails and all these dangerous things everywhere. Man, another radar scan, and it does look even a bit stronger, Scotty.
Excuse me. Yeah, watching that closely. And honestly, you're looking right here. I mean, Greenwood, South Carolina, reporting a temperature of 77. Dew points in the low 60s. So it's getting into a more unstable atmosphere. There's more warm air available to work with it once you get into Greenwood, Abbeville County. As you get up here into, you look at the Spartanburg, Greenville, Spartanburg Regional, temperatures are in the 60s up here, 61. So, you don't have to go far from Greenwood up to Greenville. It's probably about an hour 15-minute drive. It's 77 in Greenwood, 61 in Greenville. So, there's a boundary here between the warmer air and the cooler, stabler air. And these boundaries sometimes will allow these storms to ride on them. That's what we saw last week in Burlington, Greensboro, over into High Point, to northern Orange County. That storm just rode that warm front, the boundary there, and that's where we saw the tornado happen there in the triad last week. So we'll have to watch this boundary area between the warmer more unstable area, and then the cooler, more stable area, and that's going to be kind of that line where we could see these storms develop.
Yep, absolutely, Scotty. It's one of those things we've talked about before. Sometimes the Carolinas can be the most prolific severe weather on marginal risk days. Today is one of those days for a good portion of the Carolinas. We've got a slight risk in the western North Carolina. This storm is ongoing in a marginal risk area, but it's just a good example of why we should never excuse any SBC severe risk category. Even the marginal risk can bring with it these tornado warnings like we're seeing right now to the east of Star. Hanea Path, you guys look like you're next in line for this. There could certainly be, Scotty, I mean, looking at this line, it does look a bit linear. Maybe if I had to guess, there's small pockets of rotation in here that could produce very quick spin ups that we may not even see between radar scans. And that's quite concerning. When you can't see it on radar, it's a very dangerous situation. We don't know which roads and which cities to call out. But if we're taking the big picture look at this and we're guessing that somewhere right around Scotty's cursor, sorry, you're okay, to the west of Hanea Path, that's where a tornado could potentially be ongoing, and that will be rapidly approaching Hanea Path in the next 10 minutes. So everyone in the path of this, if you have a tornado warning, you need to be taking shelter. Go ahead and get away from any exterior walls or windows. Get to the lowest level of a substantial shelter. Bring a helmet with you, bring shoes, and take shelter. Ride it out until that warning is dropped. And we will let you know as your city is dropped from the tornado warning as this thing continues to progress to the east. But Donalds, Princeton, Hanea Path, you guys are in line for this storm next. Still, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say this is a radar or rotation product, and you can kind of see where the rotations tracks are with this system. So again, Star, you're good to go now. Luck, you are good to go. We're just kind of focusing in on this area right here. So we go to the CCs. It's very noisy. You know, we would be concerned if we saw all red or all dark and then like a blue ball or something pop up. That would indicate where some debris at. So this is noisy. Nothing screams out there. Then we go to the velocities. You can kind of see that rotation there. Not very strong, but it's not very strong, but you know, it is there. So we'll continue to watch that. Evan, one more interesting thing is this storm is about to outrun the polygon. So as we get into Greenwood, I can't remember if Greenwood is Columbia District or not. We'll have to, I'm not sure if GSP covers Greenwood or if that's the Columbia forecast office, but Greenwood County, Orange County, you need to be on the lookout as the storm quickly moves your direction. So again, this goes until 4:15, so another about 15-20 minutes. The latest update has not come out in about 10 minutes. And again, looking through our NWS chat, I was scrolling through Twitter as Evan was talking, not seeing any damage from these areas. There was a report of funnel cloud in Georgia, Vanna, Georgia, from a sheriff's department there, but besides that, no damage reports, no visual confirmations of tornadoes. These are all radar indicated. We're showing you the rotation there that prompted this. So again, we'll watch this area. Again, I'm really concerned. I'm looking down at Columbia, temperature of 82 degrees down in Columbia. That's very warm. The dew point is 57. Excuse me. As you get into the Winsboro area, 79 temperature, Newbern 77. Even in Chester, South Carolina, you're getting to the mid 70s, 73. Lancaster County, you're at 75. So we're getting into a more warm environment. In fact, Charlotte's at 72 right now. So is Gastonia 73. So that boundary is riding, again, Interstate 85. As these storms progress through there, we'll have to watch these areas.
Yeah, absolutely, Scotty. We're hopeful that this storm will continue to stay a little bit of a mess that it won't re-strengthen anymore than it currently has. Further down the line, big picture, Lawrence, Interstate 26, the southern end of, that's 385, I think. That heads up towards Greenville right there. You guys are all going to be seeing the storm approach you. It's going to make for some pretty nasty driving conditions. Scotty, can we zoom in on that northern storm that's not warned anymore? There's still a good bit of wind attached with this kink in the line up near Chesney, Mayo, South Carolina. You guys are seeing a pretty big gust of wind. Boiling Springs is right in there as well. Potentially, maybe even we need to be watching this over the next 30 minutes or so for potential force spin-ups. We'll see if the National Weather Service issues any more warnings, and if they do, we'll pay this more attention. But nonetheless, there do appear to be a few little spots of rotation embedded with that line that could make for a quick spin-up or two. And certainly some damaging winds.
It looks like, Frank, last we checked, you were in Landrum. It looks like you may be there on is that Highway 74 or 26?
I'm on 26. I'm heading south towards Spartanburg right now. I will say that up in Landrum, the rainfall was extremely heavy, and you saw that I was seeing some flooded areas. I imagine that it's a very treacherous trying to get through Landrum right now. I wouldn't try to travel through there now at all. And driving on I-26 is no fun either. Ordinarily, this is a 70 to 75 mile an hour drive. I think I'm pushing it doing 55. There's standing water. I have at times seen water flowing across. I did across East Rutherford Street in Landrum for sure, washing a little bit of debris onto the road. And maybe on a couple of occasions, I've seen some water flowing against 26 as well. There was one area that seemed to have a little bit of small debris on the road as well. That area that Evan's talking about that's now approaching Mayo and Chesney looks like a little Boeing segment there or two. I would say that area probably crossed the interstate right in front of me and may have caused some winds on the order of 40 to 45 miles an hour that blew a little bit of debris around. That would be up around mile marker 5 where that occurred. So it's certainly not easy to travel on this road at all right now, and I don't recommend it unless you absolutely have to, because there is considerable standing water and some spots can just simply become flooded. And again, up in Landrum, I would actually recommend to the folks at GSP, if they're listening, they want to check in with the police department and other city government there. There may be some more substantial flooding going on that may be worthy of having an advisory product out, because it really was pouring up there, and there was some flooding that made it difficult to get around on East Rutherford Street there.
We appreciate that report, Frank, and stay safe out there. I know the heavy rain and getting on rush hour traffic is never a good combination. So we also want to tell you we have our Dan Whitaker, who he's not on right now, but our panelist Dan Whitaker is down in Alabama right now chasing some of the storms. So we're anticipating to get some of the video out of his area over the next day or two that will be posted. But again, let me go ahead and pop this radar screen up one more time, and we continue to see this tornado warning. And this is the area of rotation we are watching. There's going to be a new tornado warning issued now out for that issue that Evan was talking about. This is going to be for Cleveland, Rutherford, Cherokee, and Spartanburg. So new tornado warning out for Cherokee, Cleveland, Rutherford, and Spartanburg counties. This is going to include Shelby, Kings Mountain, and Bowling Springs until 4:45 p.m. So new tornado warning out. Let's get up here to it. This is going to be right here, moving into the Chesney area. So this is the highlighted area Evan was talking about just a little bit ago. This is going to be a tornado warning for Cherokee, as well as Cleveland County in North Carolina. Rutherford, Cleveland, Spartanburg, Cherokee. 401 severe thunderstorm capable of producing tornadoes located 13 miles north of Spartanburg near Chesney, moving east at 45 miles per hour. This storm will be near Gaffney around 4:20, Shelby, Earl, Patterson Springs, Blacksburg, Bullen Springs around 4:30, Rover, Kings Mountain, Crowder's Mountain State Park, and Waco around 4:40. Other locations included in this storm will be Cliffside and Henrietta. A brief weak tornado is likely. Mobile homes could be flipped. Fallen trees can cause death or serious injury and on downed homes. So move to a basement interior room, lowest level of a sturdy building. So that is the wording, a possible brief tornado. So that has prompted this tornado warning again. And this is going to include some more populated areas. This is going to be Shelby up into Chesney. This is going to be just north of Gaffney. But if you're on Interstate 85, you travel between Charlotte and Spartanburg, or Gaffney and Spartanburg on Interstate 85. This is going to be a tornado warning for your area. And again, here's the rotation. Chesney, Mayo, you need to be in your storm safe place right now. Lowest level of your home, put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Want to have a helmet, some kind of shoes, so if there was a tornado and you had to walk through debris, you wouldn't be injured from that. These storms are quickly moving off. So again, if you live in Cleveland County, Shelby, Bullen Springs, it's going to include Gardner-Webb University. Not sure if spring break's on right now or not, but if you go to Gardner-Webb or have a student or faculty member there, they're going to be included in this warning. And again, this goes until 4:45. Pretty dangerous situation moving up Interstate 85 right now into Cleveland. Evan?
Yeah, so Scotty, we're watching that storm, and there certainly could be some quick spin ups in there. We're also watching the one further to the south that's approaching Hanea Path, South Carolina. We have seen that warning looking a bit odd on my screen. I don't know if there's been any updates to that, but we are seeing certainly a large area of rotation near Hanea Path. Scotty, I'm going to let you pan on down to that because my radar scrape looks awful. Also, I think your radar may be stuck again. There we go. We'll reset and we'll fix. There we go, guys. So Scotty is going to pop up the radar screen for this tornado warning down near Hanea Path, heading towards Princeton, South Carolina. Donalds, you guys are going to be cutting it close. Ware Shoals, any of those locations that we just mentioned, you guys are under this tornado warning. You need to go ahead and take shelter immediately. The lowest level of your home, away from exterior walls and windows. Bring a helmet with you. Bring shoes with you, and just in case there were to be damage, you don't want to be walking around barefoot. Hanea Path, you guys are under the gun currently. It looks like this area of rotation is rapidly approaching you, and there could actually be several embedded smaller areas of rotation in this little line right here, Scotty. I wouldn't be surprised if there were quick spin ups possible in multiple areas from just north of Hanea Path further south to the areas just northwest of Donalds on the southern end of this line. This isn't a great look. We've been watching this for about 30 minutes now, and it seems every 5 minutes or so we get a new radar scan, and it looks a little bit more concerning than the last one. Still, we don't see anything that screams this is exactly where the tornado is located, but this whole line has the potential for spin ups all the way from Hanea Path. We're going to see this move towards the areas just north of Donalds pretty soon. Princeton, you guys could be getting in on this action. You're currently not included in this warning, including Ware Shoals. You guys are in this warning. If I had to guess, Scotty, given the forward speed of the storm, if they're going to issue an update, they'll issue that update soon. But currently, it is just Hanea Path, Donalds. I believe this is in effect just for another 8 minutes or so until 4:15 when that's set to expire. So we'll see what they do. We've talked. This may be going into NWS Columbia's office space. We're not sure. That may still be NWS GSP. Nonetheless, these offices are working hard, and I'm sure they're both watching this storm to make sure that if there were to be a need for a reissuance, they will. Anderson, Star, Iowa, we've mentioned y'all in the past. This warning has been expired for you. It has moved east. So if you're west of Belton, if you're west of that Highway 28, I believe it was, Scotty. If you're west of that Highway 28, you guys are in the clear. We're seeing the storm move to your east. But locations east of there, you guys are still very much so need to be in your safe space, watching out, and don't be outdoors. You may not see the storm coming. There's a good chance it's rain wrapped if there is any tornado ongoing. So don't go stand in your porch. Don't go watch it. Let's go straight to your safe place. And the same will also go for that northern storm up near Chesney and Mayo. Scott, I guess I'll toss back to you for a little update on that.
Yeah, Evan, just looking at this now. If you live again in Shelby, North Carolina, this is going to be just south of Forest City. This is going over Chesney right now. And I'm really, to me, it looks like it's wanting to try to get some kind of inflow here in Chesney, inflow notch. So we're going to have to watch that. Again, it's likely right in this boundary. You have a temperature of 63 in Shelby. If you go, I don't know, 40 miles down the road over into Gastonia, it's 73. That's a 10-degree difference in a short amount of time. So this boundary here of the more moist, unstable, warm air to your south, and then your more stable air up here to the north, and that's where these storms are riding along. So again, if you travel on Interstate 85 between Gaffney and Spartanburg, you need to pull off. There's several places there, several stores like QTs. There's several QTs in that stretch. Pull off, seek shelter in there before as the storm moves through. And again, if you live in Cleveland County, this is going to be Bowling Springs. This is where Gardner-Webb University is at. You want to be in your safe place. This rotation could pass just to the south of Bowling Springs, if not through Bowling Springs. Again, Gardner-Webb University. I'm sure there is a campus alert out. If you have folks who go to school there, work there, I'm sure the campus alert system has alerted them to this tornado warning. But again, if you live in the Bowling Springs community there, Shelby, downtown Shelby, you have Earl, this is Highway 18. You have Blacksburg, South Carolina, Grover, and then Kings Mountain. That's as far as this goes out. So if you live in Kings Mountain, you still have a little bit of time to go. But if you live in Shelby, you don't have much time. Bowling Springs, you don't have much time. You need to go ahead and be in that safe place. Chesney, this worst is moving through right now. Again, this is Highway 221, 226. And over here you have Highway 18, and then you have Interstate 85 that runs from South Carolina into North Carolina. Mayo, the worst is moving through now. So Chesney and Mayo, you need to be in that safe place right now. Bowling Springs, Shelby, Earl, Blacksburg, you need to be getting there. And if you live in Grover, Patterson Springs, and Kings Mountain, why not go ahead and get there? This storm's still several minutes out, but you want to be making those preparations to get into that safe shelter right now. So that's kind of this is a broken line, QLCS, squiggly line, and these little indentions right here. If you can follow my cursor from Cliffside, see this little indention right here? That's what we call inflow notches. These little notches right here, we have wind coming from one direction and wind coming from the other, and that's where you get your rotation. That's where you could likely get a quick spin up. So that's Highway 11. Again, this storm was tornado warned earlier over northern Spartanburg and Greenville County. Again, now you're in Highway 11, so it's tracked across Highway 11, just outside of Chesney. Highway 11 will go into Gaffney, into the downtown part area. You also have those shopping outlets there on Gaffney. There's the Outback Steakhouse there. There's a fun park, little gymnasium park there at the outlets. You have that big Hamrick's main store there. So there's a lot of areas here just off Interstate 85 in Gaffney that's under this polygon that you need to be in your safe place right now. So Evan, monitoring this situation because I really just don't like this little S curve, this little S hook right there. That's concerning that we could see a quick spin up.
Sorry about that. These are always tough to watch and tough to warn on. The National Weather Service has their hands full with this. These QLCS type spin ups are embedded. They're always rain wrapped, always impossible to see. You never see them coming. And they can happen in between radar scans. They can be down on the ground and lift again in just a matter of minutes. So it's tough to watch. We did see this warning issued earlier in the afternoon further to the west in the Travelers Rest area. It was allowed to expire, and then this rotation has picked up once again over the last 15 minutes. Watching that push to the north and east. Go ahead, Sky.
I want to jump in, just not to step over you, Evan, but I know personally this is being cross-posted out on all of our pages. So I have a lot of followers up here in Marion, Morganton, Hickory. This line is building up to the north. So we're going to have to watch the southern Burke County, northern Rutherford County, northern Cleveland County. We're watching this line develop, and it's kind of pivoting. So if you live in Hickory, there's a little mini tornado alley. If you live here locally, you know what I'm talking about. Highway 18 into southern Burke County into western Catawba County. We need to pay attention. This line is pivoting. If we was to draw another polygon out, the way that this polygon is, this part right here would be surfacing, pivoting towards eastern Burke County and Hickory. So I'm not saying I'm just saying, be mindful, be on the watch out. I really don't like how this is developing, this line right here, especially these little kinks just outside of Forest City. This is Bellwood. If you remember, this is kind of a prime territory where we can see something spin off. We have storms coming off of the higher elevation into the lower elevation. We have those low LCLs, those low cloud levels, and it doesn't take much for it to touch the ground in the northern part of Cleveland County, eastern Burke County, southwestern Catawba County, as we kind of go from the foothills into a more flat Piedmont area. So Evan, didn't mean to jump in on you, just kind of noticing this radar trends and just want to make sure everybody's up to date on that.
Oh, absolutely. It's good to hear. Checking in further to the south, we do still have that tornado warning in effect for another minute, one single minute for Hanea Path and Donald, South Carolina, parts of Princeton. If this is going to get reissued, the National Weather Service will do it practically immediately. So we'll see over the next 1 to 2 minutes whether or not they're going to reissue. It is getting ready to outrun its warning polygon and move off to the east towards Ware Shoals, Princeton, and Lawrence eventually further down the line. Princeton, Ware Shoals, Lawrence, even if this tornado warning is not reissued, you're still looking at a pretty intense thunderstorm headed your way with gusty winds, some small hail, and pretty prolific lightning. So be prepared for that. Go ahead and go indoors, even if you're not in this warning. Go inside, be prepared, and be watching for any continuance of this tornado warning, because if you are put under the tornado warning, you need to go ahead and seek shelter. It appears that they have just reissued this warning. Yes. Yep, they have further to the east. So I'll go ahead and read off some text data from this, Scotty. This reissuance of the tornado warning will last until 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So as of about 4:15, strong thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located 16 miles west of Lawrence, moving east at about 45 miles per hour. That's where we're looking at, that area just to the east of Hanea Path, east-southeast. That's that area of rotation they're talking about. We're watching for any potential tornado that may drop out of this radar indicated area of rotation. The storm is going to be near Waterloo around 4:30 p.m., Lawrence around 4:40, Clinton and Joanna around 4:50, and then Rose Hill State Park around 5 p.m. If you're at a state park right now, if you're at that state park and you're hiking, leave. Go out and get out of there and get to a substantial shelter. You guys want to be taking cover now. If you're in this warning, folks, go ahead and move to a basement or an interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. Get away from exterior walls and windows. If you're in a mobile home or a vehicle, move to the closest substantial shelter and protect yourself from flying debris. You can protect yourself by wearing a helmet. That's one of the biggest things that we often talk about with tornado warnings. Don't want a helmet, be prepared, be safe. Your head is the most vulnerable thing when it comes to flying debris. You don't want to get hit in the head. So throw that on. Even just a simple bike helmet will do. Throw on shoes just in case you have to walk through some kind of debris if your home were to be hit. But guys, we want to be sure that we're getting the message across that mobile homes and vehicles are not a safe place to be during these storms. It's very easy for them to be damaged and flipped. So go ahead and get to a more substantial shelter if you're in one of those locations. We did see this reissuance further to the east out towards Lawrence, South Carolina. And just one more time to go over the cities. This storm is going to be located near other locations impacted by this thunderstorm. We're going to include Cross Keys, Sedalia, never said that one before, Sedalia, Princeton, Hickory Tavern, and Aura, as well as Waterloo, Lawrence, and Clinton and Joanna, South Carolina. All those cities. If you know someone that's in this warning, if you know someone that's visiting one of these cities or lives in one of these cities, give them a text, give them a call. They may not know that a tornado could potentially be heading their way, and your text or a call could save a life. No need to panic them. Just give them the solid information that they need to go ahead and go to their tornado shelter, meaning the lowest level of their home, away from exterior walls and windows. That's what we're watching with this southern storm. That warning will be in effect for another 45 minutes, so we'll be watching it for a while longer. with that northern storm, it's a bit of a different storm mode. It's far more embedded than we're seeing with this southern storm. Potential for a quick spin up as we look at the kink in the line that's moved now to the east northeast of Chesney, and is pretty much on the state line, North Carolina South Carolina state line, moving into North Carolina. I'm gonna get my radar pulled up and get myself situated.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay, I was sending a message out to alert the people here. Just heads up.
You're all good. Yeah, so Chesney, it looks like you guys are now in the clear, but it's moving further to the east towards Boiling Springs, North Carolina. You guys are in this warning. Earl, Shelby, Grover, Blacksburg, Kings Mountain, Mountain Far End, and Waco. This storm is going to be into Cleveland County and moving east at, I'm guessing, around 45 miles per hour or so. Embedded rotations in this, you won't be able to see a tornado if it is ongoing. Go ahead and get into your safe shelter if you're in Earl, Blacksburg, Grover, Shelby, Boiling Springs, Waco, and Kings Mountain, Patterson Springs. Lots of cities to be named here. This is unfortunately moving into, eventually be moving towards Gastonia and Lincoln County, and those areas have a pretty fair amount of people living in them. All of this area does. Watching this move through a semi-populated region, which we hate to see. We don't want to see any damage. But Scotty's pulling up radar, so I will let him take over from here.
Yep, Evan. So we got an update from the Weather Service. Spartanburg and Rutherford County, you're clear of the tornado warning now. It continues for Cherokee and Cleveland County till 4:45. So that's another 25 minutes or so. Severe thunderstorm. Cable producing tornado was 8 miles north of Gaffney, 4 miles south of Bowling Springs. That puts it almost right there on the North Carolina South Carolina line, as Evan was just talking to you about. This storm would impact Bowling Springs around 4:20, so that's right now. Shelby, Patterson Springs, Earl, Blacksburg around 4:30, Grover, Waco, Crowder's Mountain State Park around 4:40, and then Kings Mountain at 4:50. Again, this is kind of right in the Interstate 85, so that would take it into Gaston County next. So that is what we are watching there. And again, the Weather Service just saying this could be a brief, weak tornado. So we're watching that as this storm continues to move into the area. And Evan, I'm going to flip our radar down here to the second warning.
Okay.
And this one is a little more concerning. Starting to see this little kidney bean develop here near Ware Shoals. Starting to see this little appendage here. We don't like these appendages at all. So we're going to have to continue to watch this. This is going to be Highway 25 business. And then you have the main U.S. Highway 25 right there. So this is, again, in Ware Shoals. This would eventually move into Lawrence County. You're traveling on Highway 252 there. We'll have to be watching that as well as it moves into Lawrence County. So Lawrence, Waterloo, you have Clifton, Joanna. You all need to be in that storm safe place. Ware Shoals, you definitely need to be there. This storm possibly having some very gusty winds and some rotation there, but again, not confirmed. But those gusty winds, at least here on radar, showing anywhere between 50, 60 miles per hour. So wind is wind, and it's going to create some damage. So you want to be in your safe place there. As the next radar frames now has it through Ware Shoals, quickly moving off to the northeast around 55 miles per hour. Frank, I see that looks like the rain where you are is not as heavy. Can you give us an update where you are right now?
Yeah, Scotty, still seeing rain, but not as heavy as it was farther north. At this point, I am on I-26 and heading south. I'm south of Woodruff at this point, trying to outrun this southern storm to the 385-85 split to see if I can see anything interesting down there. Looks like it's going to be a close call there, but at least the rain has eased up enough where I am now that I can at least do the speed limit. So I've got a chance. But at this point, nothing exciting to report here aside from the rain continuing. Speaking of that rain, I have to imagine that in addition to the tornado and wind risk with that northern storm up in Cherokee and Cleveland counties, that there's got to be some flood risk as well. as I said, back in Landrum when that storm passed through there was water flowing across the main thoroughfares there in Landrum, and I imagine something similar would be occurring with this line as it moves along the North and South Carolina state line. So I would recommend the folks in that area may want to defer travel, not just for the tornado, but for the difficult travel and flood potential as well.
Yeah, Frank, look at, and we have to take this with a grain of salt, but as you were talking, I pulled up the radar. Looking at the Doppler radar estimated 1 hour rainfall estimates, there towards the Landrum areas is pinpointing anywhere between 1.5 to 2 inches of rain in the last hour. So kind of tells you how much rain is falling out of these storms.
Sure. Yeah, it was certainly coming down at an incredible rate when I was driving through it in Landrum and along I-85 as I was leaving that area, or rather I-26 as I was leaving that area. Now much farther south, down to around mile marker 40 here. So trying to see if I can get down to that southern cell. Currently has a tornado warning out, and we'll check in again from that area, Scotty.
All right, thank you for that, Frank. Stay safe out there. We appreciate that report. Right now, you're currently looking at the southern cell that's moving into Lawrence County. And again, we see the storm. If you live in Lawrence, the town of Lawrence, you need to be in your safe place. This storm is quickly moving into your area, as well as Clinton. And looks like Lawrence and Clinton. Lawrence County is a big county, but a lot of it is farmland. So Lawrence and Clinton, you need to be in your safe place as this storm continues to move towards your area. Again, there along Highway 252. Scrolling up to the northern storm here. This is in Cleveland County. So if you live in Shelby, hopefully you're in that safe place right now as this circulation, the rotation is moving through Bowling Springs at the moment. So they're at the University, it's Gardner-Webb University. This is going to then move into Shelby, Patterson Springs, and Earl, all along that Highway 18 180 corridor. That's where the main drag there, where Highway 180, Highway 18, and 74 there in Cleveland County. A lot of restaurants, a lot of shopping areas, kind of the main area for Shelby where people are out doing things. And with it being around 4:30, people who are out maybe shopping or getting something to eat, you need to be in your safe place now as the storm is quickly moving into your area. And then eventually we'll move into the Kings Mountain area as well as Grover as it travels again through central and southern Cleveland County. Again, nothing on radar just screams out and says, hey, we need to keep our eye on this, with this storm at least. But again, there's enough rotation there that the possibility of seeing something quickly develop is there. So that's why there is a tornado warning out for this system. And again, looking back over the southern storm here in Lawrence County, tornado warning continues for Lawrence, Clinton, and Joanna. That goes until 5 o'clock. Again, this system working with a little bit more warmer, moist, unstable air as the one up north of it. So it's more embedded with some cooler air, more stable air. So we're continuing to watch both of these circulations as they move in. And then Evan, looking at this little feature down here, getting ready to move west again. We'll have to watch this system that's starting to want to have that ominous look, at least on radar with that. But again, nothing really just screams out and says, hey, we need to keep our eye on this. This is where we're watching that rotation here in Lawrence County. So again, if you live in Lawrence, you need to be in that safe place. Get there now, lowest level of your home, put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. It's always a good idea to have a helmet on, some sturdy shoes, maybe even some goggles to keep any flying debris out of your eyes. Just looking up at Frank's screen, looks like can see some daylight there, some clearing of the skies there. So looks like Frank's trying to get ahead of this system. So Evan, 2 tornado warnings continuing here in the Carolinas, one for Lawrence County, and this other one up here in Cleveland and Cherokee County.
Yep, absolutely, Scotty. And I don't like the look down there near Lawrence, especially. There's lots of little areas of rotation that could potentially be producing quick spin ups. We've got this elongated line, just like you said. stretching all the way from the South Carolina, Georgia border up into portions of Cleveland County and approaching Gaston County, Lincoln County. That's where we're watching the crux of this severe weather this afternoon. This is a very warm environment. We do have enough shear and enough instability to get these weak rotations going, and that's unfortunately what we're going to be watching. What we're watching now, and what we're going to have to watch throughout the rest of the afternoon as these storms march to the east. Even bigger picture, Scotty, looking out towards all of western North Carolina and western South Carolina, there's some pretty heavy rain moving over. I believe we had an MCD issued not too long ago for heavy rainfall in this area and the potential for flash flooding. So we are watching everywhere west of Columbia, west of Charlotte. We're watching the potential for very heavy rainfall. I believe it's a moderate risk for flash flooding out for the southwestern tip of North Carolina today, as well as a slight risk into western North Carolina. And those should not be taken. Those should be taken seriously. It's been a little while since we had a heavy rainfall event, which seems odd to say, but we've had lots of rain recently, but nothing super heavy all in one go. And we are getting that today with very heavy precipitation rates. So be watching for flash flooding, street flooding, as we get into the afternoon and evening hours as storms continue to train. Back towards the north, Scott, I can, if you want to pan up there.
Yep.
We do have multiple areas of rotation embedded up there. I think the radar is stuck. But we've got multiple areas of embedded rotation up there, approaching Earl, North Carolina, Shelby, North Carolina, Boiling Springs. You're in the thick of it right now. Lattimore, Kingston. There's several areas here that need to be watched for potential quick spin ups. Further down the line, Patterson Springs, Grover, Kings Mountain, Waco, White Oak. It's hard to tell exactly where a tornado could be in here, but we do have this broad area of rotation with the potential for small spin ups. Those can be quick. We may never even see them today, and we may not know about them until tomorrow or days to come. But you want to be prepared if you're in a warning in southern Cleveland County or in northern Spartanburg County, Cherokee County. Then you want to be in your safe place, away from exterior walls and windows. Have shoes with you, have a helmet on. Be safe. You guys can see there's the radar image for Boiling Springs, Patterson Springs, Earl, Shelby, North Carolina. That's where we're watching for a kind of a messy area of rotation that could have an embedded tornado somewhere in there. That warning is set to expire in another 15 minutes. So we'll see this push towards Gaston County and Lincoln County, North Carolina, and we'll see if that warning gets a reissuance from the National Weather Service office in Greenville, Spartanburg.
And then we have our southern county here, our southern warning. This goes until 5 o'clock. And this is for Lawrence and southwestern Union County. And again, we're watching this area of particular interest. It's moving into Lawrence now. So if you live along Highway 221 in Lawrence or south of Lawrence, you need to be in that safe place as this storm is continuing to move in your direction. Clinton as well. You need to be in your safe place, as well as Joanna, as the storm quickly moves off. And these storms are moving, Evan, pretty quickly, 40 to 50 miles per hour. So that is, at least with this heavy rainfall from these storms, at least the storm motion is fast enough that we may not see flash flooding, a lot of flash flooding. We still could see some flooding, but if these storms are moving 15, 20 miles per hour, we'd really be worried about the heavy rain aspect of it. So that's one good thing is at least they're moving fast.
Yep. They are moving quickly. We've seen these storms travel a good bit of ground since we started covering them earlier this afternoon. We picked them up near Cleveland, South Carolina, when that first tornado warning was issued. And it may have been a couple hours ago. I don't know how long we've been online. That first warning was dropped, and then the second warning and now updated warnings are ongoing for the Shelby, Patterson Springs, Chesney. You guys are all in the clear. We talked about you a good bit, but that northern storm has pushed primarily into North Carolina and will be fully into North Carolina over the next 10 to 15 minutes. The southern storm, we watched it cross from Georgia into South Carolina, and now we're watching it develop. It's strengthened for sure, as we've watched over the last little while. And there's lots of little areas of rotation that we need to be concerned about near Lawrence, Watts Mill, heading towards Clinton. This is heading towards the I-26 through 85 interchange right there, which is a very busy part of the interstate. So if you're on 385, if you're on I-26, you guys need to be, if you're in this morning, go ahead and get to some substantial shelter. Don't stay in your vehicle. You're far safer in shelter. It's not a good idea to be on the roads anyways at all right now. There's going to be blinding rain with very strong gusty winds moving through the 385 I-26 interchange over the next 15 to 20 minutes. So be careful if you're in that area. But Watts Mill, Lawrence, you guys are going to be under the gun next, and then it will approach that interchange.
Yes, so we are continuing to watch these tornado warnings. Again, the one for Lawrence and southwestern Union County go until 5 p.m. Tornado warning for northern Cherokee County, and we've got a new one, other continuation of the Cherokee and Cleveland County until 4:45 p.m. So those are the two storms. Let's get the updated outlook here from the Weather Service with this latest. My weather. Another issue we get on these big severe weather days is the National Weather Service internal chat sometimes goes down, and mine has went down. So Slack coming to the rescue here. Let me see what this latest update is. This is going to include Kings Mountain, Blacksburg, and Shelby for this tornado warning. So again, if you live in these areas, you definitely want to be in your safe place. And I'm trying to get this up. I mean, you may have better luck than I do. Here it is. We've the newest one at well, it just went away. Oh, NWS chat's not being friendly. Evan, can you read the newest update there? You got it?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, so we've got a new update coming out from the National Weather Service here in Greenville, Spartanburg. I'll go ahead and read off the warnings for that. So this is updated. Areas to the west that we've been previously talking about are now out of the warning, but this warning will continue for southeastern. That doesn't look right to me.
Wait, you do that. We've got this situation here. I'm worried about Lawrence right now. Starting to see some rotation really pick up as it's moving into Lawrence. This is what we call a tornado velocity signature showing up here on radar. We're going to have to watch this. Again, if you live there on Highway 76 near downtown Lawrence, you need to be in that safe place right now. So Highway 76, US 21, that intersection, and then it's going to go into the 385-26 intersection. So again, if you live in this area, I don't like these. We'll have to monitor this, but these pixels right here don't look too good. I don't like that trend right there. Let me go into the CC here. At least nothing showing up on CC. That's a good sign, but we're going to monitor this area right here. It's kind of toned down a little bit there, so that's good. But we'll monitor this area right here, Evan, as it's moving into the Lawrence area.
Absolutely. Yep, Scotty. So I do have that pulled up now. For some reason, the text data was not updated for me either, but I do have the image pulled up from the National Weather Service tornado Twitter account. And we're looking at Shelby, Patterson Springs, Earl, Grover, Blacksburg, Kings Mountain. You guys are still in this warning, but locations further to the west, like southeastern Rutherford County, you guys have been dropped from it. So we're still seeing northeastern Cherokee County, you guys are still in this warning. Southeastern Cleveland County, y'all are still in this warning. And here in the next 15 minutes or so, we may see a continuance and extension into Gaston County, or even further north and east into Lincoln County. That's what we're watching with. Unfortunately, it seems like there might be some issues going on with NWS chat and these products coming out. But nonetheless, we are watching the radar trends ourselves. As Scotty said, that Lawrence storm is concerning. And this northern storm near Earl currently, it's right over Earl, Patterson Springs, and Shelby. It's got it's little areas of rotation embedded with this line that we're having to watch for some QLCS type tornadoes that can be real brief and can happen between radar scans. We may never even pick up on them. And that's why we urge you to go ahead and take shelter no matter where you are in this tornado warning. because we may not ever be able to see these tornadoes on radar. It's best for you to go ahead and take shelter, move to the lowest level of your home, an interior room away from exterior walls and windows, with shoes and a helmet to keep yourself safe and protected from the elements in the event that you were to be hit by a tornado.
All right, Evan, thank you for. I just was looking at the radar data. I just had a bad radar scan down there in Lawrence County. Things have calmed that back down just a little bit rotation wise with what I was seeing there. So that is a good sign. Let me go ahead and share here the radar. And again, we're watching this system up here, which is a more embedded line. See that extends from the South Mountain State Park through northern Cleveland County into northern Cherokee County. The tornado warning here with some embedded rotation, but again, Patterson Springs, Earl, Grover, Shelby. You're the areas right now that need to be in that safe place with this first storm. The northern cell we'll talk about. The second warning, excuse me, is this storm down here in Lawrence, and this is where we're watching just in Lawrence and just to the south along Highway 221 and 76. We were watching that. Needless to say, there's still some gusty winds even north of this. You're looking at 50 to 60 miles per hour, and that definitely can do some damage to trees, especially with as much rain that's ongoing right now. Saturated soil, 50, 60 mile per hour winds can definitely bring down some trees as well. Thankfully, Evan, which weather service chat's been going in and out, so I haven't really heard of any confirmed damage, so that is a good sign, and hopefully we can maintain that.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't want to hear about any warning. Scotty, I'm not sure that your screen is sharing currently. I think we're having issues with that. I'm staring at a black screen on the live stream, as well as we've killed that screen share. I don't know what's going on with that. But
it seems like I don't know. There seems to be some technical issues. It seems like with these radar products that we use and the weather service chat, everybody's kind of jamming on these same servers, and it's starting to cause some glitches. We even have our radar screen down here that was glitching up. So if you're seeing black screens and stuff, we apologize for that. But all these servers that house all this weather data is being overused today just because of the severe weather that's ongoing here in the South.
Yeah, absolutely. So in case you weren't able to see what we were showing a few moments ago on the stream, what Scotty was talking about, this is that southern storm that we're watching near Lawrence and Clinton, South Carolina, currently crossing 385 right there, approaching the 385 I-26 interchange, which is very busy. If you're on the road anywhere near there, go ahead and pull off and find a more substantial shelter. You do not want to be in a vehicle as the storm blows through. If a tornado were to spin up, you would not be safe in it, as well as the road conditions are going to be terrible with driving rain and high winds as it crosses the interstate. We've got this whole line extending to the north. Man, this is killing my computer. We've got this whole line extending to the north, and another warning further up in northeastern Cherokee County and southeastern Cleveland County. No well-defined areas of rotation in here, Scotty. We're watching this. The National Weather Service will continue to watch this. This warning is only in effect for another 3 minutes. We may see them expire it here in about 3 minutes. We're going to continue to monitor it and see if that warning continues or if it drops. But this line is now moving through Shelby at the moment and pushing east towards Kings Mountain, and shortly we'll be into Gaston County, approaching Cherryville, Gastonia, Dallas, a few other locations in there, Bessemer City. So if you're in that area near those cities we just mentioned, be prepared for some gusty winds and some heavy rain. The warning is not currently in effect for any of Gaston County, but it very well may be reissued and extended into your area. So continue to watch the stream, continues to stay tuned to your no weather radio or however you get your warnings for the potential for an warning extension. Lots of lightning with these, Scotty.
Yeah, and I was noticing, if I can get this screen to share, hopefully the product will will share here, but I was noticing the hail that is possible down here in the Lawrence County storm. I'm starting to see this hail icon, and scrolling over this. This is percentage chance of
Uh-oh.
60%.
Scotty, I think that we're having issues with your connection and with the screen share again.
There.
Yep. Are you here?
I am.
Hey guys,
I don't
if you're
know. Are we
struggling, I
live?
can jump in right now if you'd like.
Yeah, go ahead, Frank.
No, I think.
Well,
Hold on. I think our Zoom server quit. Are we still live?
Maybe. Let's find out.
It just popped up that said the server crashed.
It'll take a few moments for the live to catch up to where we are currently. It appears that we are still live with black screen at this stage here. Once again, we've got radar issues with James down in the corner. We've got a lot of different radar and tech issues going on currently. It's a heavy day in the weather industry. Lots to maintain and keep up and going on. Frank is down in upstate South Carolina. We know for sure that Frank is not having issues. So let's go check in with Frank and see what's going on with him.
well, at this point, I've made it down to the 85-385 split, turned around and went back north. And now I am in the thick of that storm that has generated that tornado warning. The rain is coming down extremely hard right now. It's coming in sheets. My car is getting pushed around a little bit by wind here. Coming up on the cross anchor exit 44 here. That's about a mile away, and I may give it a rest there. As I was approaching the storm from the south, I could see some lowering. I couldn't really focus enough on it to say that I was could see any rotation, but definitely some lowering. Definitely saw a lot of strokes of lightning, at least one cloud to ground that I could pick out there. And I think that some of the worst of this cell is what I'm passing through right now. Definitely not the greatest conditions to try to drive through for sure, with visibility only maybe a quarter mile right now, thanks to the extremely heavy rain that's going on. And again, the wind's gusting here too, 30, 35 miles an hour, I would say at this point.
Thank you, Frank, for that update. If we check back in, so the northern cell that we've been watching up in northeastern Cherokee County, southeastern Cleveland County, that warning has been expired. So Gaston County, you guys are in the clear for now. That warning was not extended into your area. Shelby, you guys are in the clear, and locations near there. You guys are now cleared. Further to the south, we do still have a warning in near Lauren, South Carolina. It's really approaching Clinton, South Carolina now. And we'll see if Scotty's screen share works this time. But there appears to be some significant hail with this. Potential for hail up to golf ball size, especially to the north of Clinton, right there over the 385 I-26 interchange. Scotty, I don't think your screen share is working again. We may have to give up on that. It's just black screening. But I will share a radar scope. Let me know if you see it pop up eventually.
I'm going to log off because I think it's on my end.
Okay.
And try to log back in. I'm hoping that doesn't take us off. But
okay, no worries. Can you see my radar scope currently?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. Then we're good. Go ahead and log off, and I'll run it for a little bit. Clinton, South Carolina, near the 385 I-26 interchange there. This is the area we're watching. This is the only tornado warning currently in the Carolinas, and we do have several embedded areas of rotation in this line. You can see here just to the north of Clinton and even into Clinton, we've got these little pockets here and maybe even some weird stuff going on back there. So we're watching for the potential of quick tornadic spin-ups in this area. At the moment, I don't believe there's anything confirmed. This is all radar indicated rotation. We can flip over to correlation coefficient. Also, we can kind of call that the debris tracker. And let me just circle something real quick just to do a little bit of looking. There is a little bit of a marked there. Let's see how that lines up with velocity and reflectivity data. That appears to be behind the area of rotation. So I don't think, yeah, that doesn't appear to be a TDS. But nonetheless, we have had an intermittent TVS, tornado velocity signature on this southern cell. You can see this area of the dark reds and pinks that's just now passed over I-26 and moving to the east would be north of Whitmire before too long. That's where we have the potential for a quarter to potentially even up to golf ball sized hail and some pretty prolific lightning. Clinton, South Carolina, you guys are now catching the tail end of this. It's a pretty heavy rain. Frank, can you run on mute real quick? Oh, never mind. I can mute you. But we are watching this storm, and it is the only one in the game currently. Let's see. I don't know what all is going on with. We got some more Zoom issues. It's just one of those days, folks. But we do, big picture, we have some pretty heavy rain across all of western North Carolina and western South Carolina. You can see still some storms pushing up from northeastern Georgia, as well as the storms that continue to push east through and into the Piedmont, northwest of Columbia. Charlotte, you guys are going to see some action in the next hour or so as we get heavy rain and some thunderstorms moving into your area. Currently, the only severe warning out there is for this tornado warning down on the southern end. That's near Clinton, South Carolina, just now passing over I-26, moving to the east. If you are in that tornado warning, you're going to want to take shelter immediately. Go ahead and move to the lowest level of your home, away from exterior walls and windows. Okay, so Scotty is down and out for a little while. We've got Frank out in the field that's driving currently through some pretty blinding rain, so we'll let him focus on driving for a bit before we bring him back in. But big picture, guys, we've talked about how we have a big storm system down in Alabama. And this is a rather broad system. It's not nearly as severe here as it is down there. But nonetheless, we do have just enough shear, just enough instability to cause this tornado warning that we're watching here. And I'll do a little trick. Oftentimes we see this beam blockage going into the mountains. If we go up to tilt 3, we can see still some pretty heavy rain. Which radar site am I on? Let's see, I'm on GSB. So there's still some pretty heavy rain moving into and through western North Carolina. So we've got some potential flash flooding issues in this region. We talked with Frank earlier about as he traced on I-85, I believe that is, heading to the north and east, and how he's seeing some flooding issues up there. And we've got continued training of really heavy thunderstorms moving to the north and east. So we're watching for the potential of flash flooding there, some kind of flooding. No issues out currently from the National Weather Service. We are keeping our eye on it. Moderate rain continues to push into Asheville, and a couple of tail end thunderstorms here on the back edge moving out of northeastern Georgia into upstate South Carolina. Brevard area, you're going to be seeing an uptick in precipitation, heavy rain and lightning and thunder. But the main storm we're watching currently is down here near Clinton. I'm going to switch radar sites, and well, actually, I won't do that quite yet. Look how, wow, this storm may be starting to get a spike on it. We may be seeing some pretty significant hail come out of this storm near Clinton and just to the northeast of Clinton, potentially up to golf ball size in this tornado warning. Let me flip over to some velocity signatures to see what we're working with. It's still looking rather linear with embedded pockets of rotation, but nonetheless, we're watching this whole area right here in this tornado warning. It's set to expire in about 8 minutes. Wow, a new radar scan just came in. Could be some pretty significant straight line winds with this as it continues to move in this direction. Particularly looking at this little pocket right here of 70-mile-per-hour winds. We could see wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour, even outside of any tornado formations that may occur. Clinton, you guys are now in the clear from this first tornado warning. There's another cell coming up from your southwest that we're going to watch. No warning on it yet, but you can see the cell back here near Lawrence, Ware Shoals, Waterloo, I think that is. Watching that storm move to the east and to the north.
Hey, Evan, I got a tree down here.
Oh, go for it, Frank. What you got?
A bit of debris on the road here. What I did, when I got to the cross anchor exit, I turned around and went, there's a second tree down, a third, actually 2 together that were down. One car on the other side of the road with its hood up, and actually it looks like it got blown over. I am heading southbound here in the direction of the 85-385 split here. There's a fourth tree down, going partly over the road here. Considerable amount of debris on the road. Certainly something impressive happened here. All the damage I've seen thus far is all pointing in the same direction. So at this point, I cannot say it was a tornado, but it was either that or a high wind event that occurred here along I-26 just north of the 85-385 split. Additionally, this is an area I just passed northbound here just a few minutes ago. A considerable amount of debris on the road here. Looks like another tree down that blew some pine tree debris on the road here. Mile marker 49 is where I am right now. I can see ahead there's yet another tree down, possibly 2 or 3 short distance ahead. When that gets a little more comes into view here with the rain coming down, it's a little hard to see. Yeah, a cluster of trees down in this area. 1, 2, 3, 4, looks like 4 altogether. And I hope my tires are handling these pine cones here. One of them looks like, a couple of them actually look like they were kind of snapped off about midway up. So yes, there is some damage that has occurred here in the vicinity of mile marker 49 on I-26. And let's see what we can find up over the hill. There's some more debris on the road here. A couple of medium-sized limbs that were blown down. Again, all of this appears to be facing in the same direction. So first instinct is that this was not a tornado, but instead straight line winds. But hard to say for sure at this point. Definitely an event occurred here just since the last time I checked in with you. Because again, I was passing northbound through here, decided to backtrack. Now mile marker 50 here, heading southward along I-26. And have not seen any new debris here or any new trees down. But yes, definitely some event occurred here between roughly mile marker 48 and 50. There's a little bit more debris on the road, a considerable amount of it. Looks like all, again, small pine tree debris. I don't see any trees downed in this area, but a fair amount of junk has been blown onto the road surface by the storm that just passed by. So this storm that is now under the tornado warning still, just east of Clinton and I-26 here. There's definitely some, at least some damaging wind to contend with that storm. And again, a potential tornado can't be ruled out, at least of the small QLCS variety, as you mentioned. As sheer as it appears to be along that line, glancing at radar, I think that's something well within the realm of possibility, Evan. So it looks like I'm out of the worst of it. It looks like it was about a 2-mile stretch where that damage occurred. But yeah, there were several trees down in that area.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for that report, Frank. We appreciate that. It certainly verifies what we're seeing on radar. It appears that there's straight line winds moving to the east, now east of I-26, heading towards Carlisle, Whitmore, Whitmire, pardon me, South Carolina. You guys are all under the gun for this. These storms are moving pretty quickly, and they're doing something kind of wonky right now. But they're currently straddling the National Weather Service, GSP, and CAE, Greenville, Spartanburg, and Columbia forecast areas. So we're getting some weird warnings come through currently. But we did just get a new update. I'll bring up my radar and I'll share it with you all. We got a new tornado warning, and actually a TVS now. We got a new tornado warning for NWS Columbia's forecast area that will expire at 5:30 p.m. This is for northwestern Fairfield County and northeastern Newberry County in central South Carolina. This is going to impact locations such as Henderson Island, Honoré Ranger District Office, Mabington Fire Station, and Feasterville Fire Station. This includes Interstate 26 between mile markers 62 and 64. So we're still seeing that continued tornado threat for parts of I-26. You can now see this is like a bit of a bowing segment here at the bottom edge. This is where we're watching for the straight line tornado threat that's going to continue to move east. out towards Chester. You guys are on the far end of this. We've got a new tornado warning now. This one from NWS GSP in Greenville, Spartanburg, South Carolina. This warning is for East Central Lawrence County, Central Chester County, pardon me, Southern Union County, and upstate South Carolina. This storm is moving to the east at 50 miles per hour. Again, part of that same line. We're just getting two different warnings because we're straddling forecast offices here. But this warning will include and will be near Rose Hill State Park at 5 p.m., Carlisle at 5:20 p.m., Chester State Park at 5:30 p.m., Chester and Bladstock around 5:40 p.m. And include a couple other locations such as Cross Keys, Leeds, Cornwall, Sedalia, and Tuckertown. So if you're in any of those locations, either of these counties, Chester County, parts of Union County, I'll pull up the counties again. Southern Union County, Central Chester County, East Central Lawrence County, or from the Columbia office, Northwestern Fairfield County, Northeastern Newberry County. If you know anyone in those areas, please text them, call them, let them know that there's a dangerous storm headed their way, that even if the tornado does not form and is not formed on this line, there is dangerous straight line winds heading towards them. We just got a live report from our panelist, Frank Strait, who is down. He was on 26. I'm not sure where he is currently, but he saw about a dozen down trees there along the interstate where these straight line winds had just pushed through not long ago. So that just confirms the risk that we're looking at here. Potentially straight line wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour. We had this TVS that came up a few moments ago, and we're watching this section right. Whitmire, you guys are going to be under the gun shortly. You guys are only about a mile or so away from this line slamming into you, and it's moving quickly. So a minute, 2 minutes tops before this slams into you. You guys need to be taking shelter immediately. If you're in this warning at all, go ahead and go to the lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows. Get down there. A basement is preferable. Put on a helmet, wear shoes just in case you have to walk through damage in the event that a tornado does hit your home. If you're on the road or if you're in a mobile home in this warning, you want to move quickly to a more substantial shelter. Neither of those are viable and will not allow you to survive a direct tornado hit. They will be destroyed. So move to a more substantial home if you are out ahead of the storm in a vehicle or in a mobile home. Whitmire, as I said, you guys are going to be seeing this pretty much now or in the next 1 to 2 minutes. Carlisle, you guys are probably 5 to 10 minutes away from seeing impacts here as a straight line wind heads towards you with embedded smaller circulations that could have tornado touchdowns at any given moment. We've talked about it all afternoon. These straight line, somewhat QLCS type, and it was more QLCS type up to the north. Even with this straight line wind that we've got ongoing, all these little kinks in the line, these little circulations, these could produce quick little tornadoes right in here. All these little kinks that may go unnoticed on radar. They happen so quickly that they may not be picked up by a radar scan or loft debris high enough to be picked up on the correlation coefficient. But nonetheless, this storm is feasting. It's ingesting a lot of air and heading to the east by Whitmire, heading towards Carlisle. And it's got some pretty nasty embedded circulations. So just as a reminder, we have no other storms in place, just this one storm down to the south that's moving now to the east of I-26 towards Whitmire, Carlisle, Chester, Eureka Mill. You guys further down the line are going to be under the gun for the storm in the next 30 minutes or so. This tornado warning on the north side does go for another 45 minutes until about 5:45 p.m. So we've got a pretty substantial storm here, guys, that has hung on for a while. We've been watching this storm since it entered from Georgia down here by the Anderson area and has now moved off into the east, now past Clinton and Lawrence and heading towards Chester. Chester County, parts of Union County, Fairfield County, all these locations are under this tornado warning. Guys, we're struggling to straddle the NWS Greenville Spartanburg and NWS Columbia offices, which are both issuing warnings on this. That's why this looks a little bit confusing. So we do have two warnings here. I think we may have panelist Scotty Powell back again, but nonetheless, I will continue. I'm going to read off these tornado warnings and we'll get him back in here. For the southern warning, this dangerous storm was near Whitmire now at 5:02 p.m. It's producing potential for a tornado and quarter-sized hail. So we don't have a confirmation on that tornado, but it is radar indicated with its rotation. This is going to be capable of producing tornado as it moves east at 50 miles per hour towards Henderson Island, Honorary Ranger District Office, Mableton Fire Station, and Feasterville Fire Station. This also includes a stretch of I-26 between mile markers 62 and 64. The northern warning, which is eventually heading towards Chester, South Carolina. This is a larger one from NWS GSP, and it is for East Central Lawrence County, Central Chester County, and Southern Union County in upstate South Carolina. Also moving east to 50 miles an hour. Same storm, just a different warning. And it is expected to impact locations such as Cross Keys, Leeds, Cornwall, Sedalia, Tuckertown. On the timeline, you've got Rose Hill State Park at 5 p.m., Carlisle around 5:20 p.m., Chester State Park around 5:30 p.m., and Chester and Blastock at 5:40. So Chester, Blastock, you guys are 30 to 40 minutes away from seeing the storm impact you as it continues to head east with damaging straight line winds and the potential for embedded tornadoes. Scotty, let's go back to you if you're ready to get back in on the coverage. Oh, we can't hear Scotty. He's giving us the one finger.
Can you hear me now?
We got you.
All right. Yeah, sorry. I can, if you need to grab some water or whatever, I can take over for a little bit. Trying to get the NWS chat up and going because I wanted to report that damage that Frank was talking about earlier with the trees. I was wanting to get that information sent in, but we'll try to get that done. But right now we are watching this tornado warned storm. Again, Evan said straddling two weather forecast offices. We have the Greenville, Spartanburg, and the Columbia area. So, but if you live in Whitmire right now, you definitely want to be in that safe place right now. We are seeing the possibility of a tornado, at least Doppler radar indicated. Could see a tornado just moving through the Whitmire area, just south of Carlisle, as well as Shelton. So this area right here under the gun, this is going to be actually the newest radar update here, moves that rotation there along highway. Let's see what highway is this. Highway 72 that connects Whitmire and Carlisle. So we want to focus in on that area. We have what our radar shows is like a tornado, not a debris set, but tornado TVS, a tornado velocity signature, showing us that rotation in this system. Again, this system bordering between the Greenville, Spartanburg, and Columbia Weather Forecast Office. Again, tornado warning out for Fairfield, Newberry, Chester, and Union County, South Carolina. And again, this is a more warm, unstable atmosphere than the ones in North Carolina. Temperature right now in the Fairfield area is 79 degrees. Kind of looking at some of the local ASOS stations around, that looks to be the only one close by. Up in Lancaster, it's 77 degrees. So again, that's showing you there's some warm air, moist air to work with. That earlier tornado warning up in Cleveland and Rutherford County, Cleveland and Cherokee County was a more cooler, stable atmosphere. But down here, we have more of a warm, moist, unstable atmosphere. So again, if you live between Carlisle and Whitmire, you definitely need to be in that storm shelter, lowest level of your home. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Have a good idea to have a helmet, some type of protection for your head. We've talked about it. Evan talked about it just a little bit ago. The most injuries that we see from tornadoes is from flying debris. That's the impact into your body. So make sure your head is safe. We want to keep your head safe, and we also want to make sure that you are safe. So put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Let me pull up the radar here, and hopefully you guys can see it. This is the area that we are watching right now. This is in the Carlisle Whitmire area. And again, I think that is Shelton. Shelton. So this little area right here is where we need to be in our safe place. And again, Evan, I'm trying to get logged in here on NWS chat, and I'm not sure if any debris or any damage has been reported, but hopefully we can get logged in here soon and find out if there's anything going on, because at least the radar is showing the potential of some rotation there. Also some pretty a large hail here. We're looking at the possibility of seeing up to 1 inch in diameter hail. That would be about the size of quarters. So that's also a possibility in this storm as well. So we definitely want to be mindful of that. If you live in this area, not only are we dealing with the potential of some rotation, but also the possibility of seeing some large damaging hail. And again, this is in a more warm, moist, unstable environment here in the South Carolina area. This is more indicative of seeing those tornadoes than the more stable environment we have over the North Carolina area. So we'll see our temperatures here in the upper 70s, dew points in the 60s, and that's just the right amount of ingredients that you want to see these thunderstorms blossom. So again, we are continuing to monitor this and looking through to see if we have any damage reports, and not seeing any yet. I know Frank came up on some damage there earlier with him driving through. So we're going to continue to monitor that, Evan. But this is we've been watching this particular storm over the last hour or so, and it continues to show those signs of rotation as it's now moving towards Carlisle.
Absolutely, Scotty. Yeah, it's a very concerning look. We've got some embedded areas of rotation in this storm as it heads towards Carlisle. Currently, it is only, give us a measure, it's only 5 miles out from Carlisle, moving east at about 55 miles an hour. That means we're only 5.5 minutes away from the storm impacting folks in that little area right there. Scotty's got the radar pulled up, so I won't bother pulling mine up. But we're seeing this march to the east towards Carlisle, Shelton. You guys are going to have a very close call. Both of those areas are in your tornado or need to be in your tornado shelter. You're included in this warning. We just got an update to this warning from NWS GSP for hail up to 1.1 3/4 inches. So that's golf ball size, maybe even a touch larger than golf ball. So this is so much producing significant hail and strong winds, upwards of 70 miles per hour as it heads east. If you're in that warning, you need to be in your shelter. That means the lowest part of your home, whether it be an interior room or a basement. That's where you need to be, away from exterior walls and windows. Put shoes on with a helmet, and be prepared. If you're out ahead of the storm, if you're out near Chester, Cornwall, and your car is outside and you have the ability to bring it inside, go ahead and bring it in the next 2 to 3 minutes. Don't delay. Bring that car in and then get straight to your tornado shelter, because this storm is packing a punch, both with its 70 mile per hour straight line winds, which can and will cause significant tree and power line damage, as well as this 1 3/4 inch hail, which is just a little bit bigger than a golf ball, and that will do serious damage to your car if you get caught up in it. Scotty, that looks like a pretty serious TVS that just popped
Yes, that is. It is looking pretty ominous here between Shelton and Carlisle. So you definitely need to be in your safe place right now. This is going to be jumping jurisdictions from the Columbia or Greenville office to the Columbia office. So you definitely need to be in the storm shelter. Evan, I don't know. Maybe we can. I don't know if you're able to pull up Google Maps. Maybe we can zoom into this area and give some roadways. Frank, while we do that, I want to quickly get back with you. Can you remind us where that damage was and what you're seeing right now?
Where I saw the damage, Scotty, was between mile markers 48 and 50 on I-26, mostly in the eastbound lane, which you're heading more south than east, of course, in that area. But still, that's where I saw it. And I did, after turning around again and heading back north again, I did imping those, so you can get a good idea by looking at my imping reports. I did put out two in the vicinity where I saw those trees down. Altogether, there were 6 or 7, maybe 8. I wasn't really able to count them exactly, but there were several trees down in that area.
All right, thank you for that. And I do see that imping report there. This is going to be just north of near the intersection there of just north of Clinton. So, Evan, you got some roadways there that we can mention?
I do. Yep. I'm pulling this up. I will go ahead and share my screen. That's funny. I've been working on this behind the scenes. Every time you talk, Scotty, trying to make it work. But this is where we're seeing the warnings come through right now in South Carolina. We'll scroll on over. Oh, you can't see through the warnings. That's painful. Okay, then give me one moment, Scotty, and I
That's
will
fine.
have the Google Maps popped up.
That's fine. No worries. Again, we are wanting to highlight this area between Shelton and Carlisle. This tornado warning is continuing for Chester, Union County until 5:45 at 5:08. Actually, yeah, 5:08. I want to make sure we got this. This one. We have two offices doing back and forth on this warning. This potential tornado was tornadic rotating storm is moving through central Chester, southeastern Union County. This is about 4 miles northeast of Whitmire, moving east at 50 miles per hour. Tornado and golf ball size hail are the possible hazards with this. Again, that's golf ball size hail. Carlisle, this storm will be around Carlisle around 5:20 p.m. Eastern time. Chester State Park around 5:30. Chester and Blackstock around 5:40 p.m. Other locations include Cornwall and Leeds, as well as Salida. Salida, I believe is how you pronounce that. So that is in the vicinity of the storm. Again, golf ball size hail possible with this storm as it continues to move between towards Carlisle, Whitmire, and Shelton.
Yep. And Scotty, I do have that ready now, so I'll go ahead and
Okay.
pull that up. We are looking at several highways in the way of this. Oh man, we're so close to having this ready. Maybe I lied. Yeah. Okay. Now we're good to go. I will go ahead and share my screen, and you guys will be able to see the warnings and the highways that we're watching in here. So we've got these warnings here in the NWS, GSP, and CAE area that we're watching. Chester, Cornwall, Carlisle, Leeds, Whitmire, you guys are all in this warning. And we've got, let's see, Highway 25, Highway 72, Highway 321, 215. You guys are all in this warning. That storm is currently draped right over this area, right near Carlisle, which I don't have the radar, unfortunately, layered over this, but nonetheless, let's see, Carlisle. Yes, the storm is currently approaching Carlisle right here, just to the west. So 72, you guys are right where that most concerning area of rotation is. If we zoom in even a little bit further, there's this road here. Let's see, Old Cherokee Road, Tuckertown Road. You guys are all right along the Broad River to the south of Carlisle, South Carolina. This is the region that we're most concerned about currently for a potential tornado to form. A pretty serious TVS, it appears, Scotty, on the radar. And this will be heading to the north and more so to the east. Highway 215. If you're on that road, you need to be getting to a substantial shelter immediately. The storm will be on you in just a matter of minutes as it crosses over the Broad River and heads your way. 10 to 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes down the line, we're looking at Cornwall and all of these smaller roads in here, which include State Road 201, Halseville Road, a few other State Road 205, 397, 563, 296. So if you're familiar with the area, you recognize those roads. That's where you need to be in your shelter and your safe place because that storm is going to be moving through quite quickly. Scotty?
Yeah, Evan, it looks like this rotation is moving just south of Carlisle. I'm going to turn on the CCs here. It's a little noisy, but we want to.
Scotty,
Yeah, go ahead, Frank.
Let me interject one thing here, just glancing over at the radar. That is a pretty impressive
I think we just
signature over with a very high reflective. The differential reflectivity is near zero or even negative in that. That area is almost certainly seeing severe level hail, at least quarter size. And it would not surprise me a bit if it were golf ball size or maybe a little larger than that. And the volume of hail could be pretty impressive as well. It could be one of these situations where there's enough hail to cover the ground. And that reduction in correlation coefficient you see in that area, that's likely due to the hail. If there were any tornado debris in that area, it probably would be masked by the hail signature there. Not that I'm saying that anyone needs to blow off the tornado aspect of this, because that certainly is there, going by just south of Carlisle right now. And thankfully, that's a sparsely populated area. But nonetheless, anyone in that area needs to be in shelter right now, and they're just off to the southeast and east of Carlisle in the path of that storm. You definitely need to be in a tornado shelter now. But also, as we've been mentioning, the hail risk here is quite substantial. It appears to be right over Carlisle now and heading off to the east. So that's another significant threat from this storm. And some damaging straight line winds are probably occurring somewhere in the Carlisle vicinity and off to the south as well, Scotty.
Yeah, that's a good call, Frank. Right now, golf ball size hail potentially falling in the Carlisle community. So if you know anyone there, hopefully they have their car inside. Also watching that tornado potential, but also Chester, you need to be on the watch out in Cornwall for this large damaging hail that we are also monitoring. But again, looking at the velocities, you can see the velocities here. I have a 2-pane up. This is the velocities on the left. We have reflectivity here on the right, and we are still seeing that rotation getting ready to cross over Highway 215 just outside of Carlisle. And again, a lot of hail falling in Carlisle. I hope. Well, I don't hope. I do hope that you are inside, but I hope there's not a lot of damage going on, because it looks like there could be some pretty significant hail that would cause a lot of damage. I hope that's not happening, but I do want to warn you of that if you are in that area or know anyone, especially if you're traveling on US. I think that's Highway 321. In that vicinity as well, moving towards Highway 321. So again, Carlisle, large hail. We're watching that rotation just to the south, moving just north of Shelton. Again, this is going to be moving into, I believe that's Fairfield County here in the next little bit. Looks like, again, some of the towns trying to look here through the radar or the weather service update here, but I don't see in particular towns they're highlighting right at the moment. Again, Feasterville Fire Station is one of the locations that is possibly to be possibly affected by this here in northwestern Fairfield County. So again, looks like to be a more sparsely populated area, but again, these areas right here still could see some pretty significant hail damage, as well as this possibly this radar indicated rotation that could produce a tornado. Again, Chester, if you live in Chester, you need to be mindful of this. This is heading your way soon.
Yeah, absolutely, Scott. This is never what we want to see in areas where we have a combined hail and damaging wind and tornado threat. This is a dangerous situation for Chester County, for areas just to the west and southwest of Chester, near Carlisle, Shelton. We talked a lot about the hail. There's also this tornado risk for us. So we've got tornado warnings out for these areas that are going to extend for another 30 minutes or so, I believe. Shelton, there appears to be some rotation real close to you, just to your north. If you're just north of Shelton, South Carolina, you're watching out there, go ahead and get to your safe place between Shelton and Carlisle. Those are the areas that we're the most concerned about for the rotation at the moment. I'm pulling mine back up as well. Certainly some damaging straight line winds in here, even if there is not a tornado on the ground. Damaging straight line winds and at least golf ball size hail with
Evan,
yeah.
The weather service just now talking on this storm. Justin Lane, one of the meteorologists there, saying this is the best structure and strongest rotation they've seen around their forecast area in a long time. So he said it'll be a miracle if this storm doesn't produce something. So definitely got the attention there of the National Weather Service of this signature here on radar. And it looks like it possibly could be producing something here. So we encourage you, if you are here in Union County into Fairfield County, you need to be in that storm shelter. Dangerous situation ongoing right now, not only with the tornado threat, but also that large damage and hail threat. That could also do a lot of damage and cause some injuries as well. Oh, we got you on mute there, Evan.
Classic. It had to happen at some point, didn't it? Why don't I go ahead and look over at some of the roads again. We'll go ahead and refresh that and call out some city names in this warning for folks. I'll share my screen real quick. We've been looking at radar for a little while, but let's flip over to Google Maps and look at some of the warnings here, just localized in the Carolinas. we still have the same two warnings, the northern one from National Weather Service in Greenville, Spartanburg, and the southern one from the National Weather Service in Columbia, South Carolina. We see several big cities, Airlie, Chester, Cornwall, Blackstock, right on the edge, Leeds, Carlisle, and I believe the name of the city that was down here has disappeared off my map, which is unfortunate. But nonetheless, road-wise, we're looking at Old Cherokee Road, Highway 215 to the north and south. As you head east out of Carlisle, Highway 72 out towards Chester State Park. Chester, you guys are going to be under the gun from this shortly. Cornwall, Highway 321 traveling through there. If you live near any of these roads, any of these cities that we've been mentioning, you need to go ahead and get to your safe place. If you are if you know anyone in this area, reach out to them, give them a phone call, shoot them a text. They may not know that there's a storm heading their way, and your message could save their life. Real quick, Frank, do you have some pretty storm structure going on there? Can we flip over to you?
Sure, you can flip over to a second, but I'm behind all the interesting action right now by a pretty substantial margin. Looking at the aftermath right now here, I'm still back on 26 and heading back in the direction of Spartanburg. So while it is interesting to look at, we're not going to see anything interesting from a potential damage standpoint where I am.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for the update. We will continue to watch that as Frank continues to head back and north on 26. We're going to watch the storm as it progresses to the east from Carlisle towards Chester and out eventually. I mean, looking further down the line, Scotty, we've got places like Great Falls, Fort Lawn, Springdale, Lancaster, Richburg. You guys are not included in the warning right now, but you are in the long-term thinking of areas that will be impacted by this storm. We certainly hope that it randomly falls apart and we aren't dealing with this in 30 minutes, 45 minutes when it approaches you. But at this moment, the storm is doing well. I should have hit my screen. That would have helped. This storm is thriving in the environment that it's in and continues to exhibit some pretty strong rotation as well as a significant hail core. Scotty, we even appear to have two different lobes here and here with a primary area of rotation down on that southern piece with
yeah, I was just noticing that.
Yes.
That's interesting. I wonder if these if we get a little break, if we get this second rotation going on, there's going to be nothing that kind of impedes these. So we could see a very dangerous situation unfolding here. This is going to be moving just into Chester County. Eventually, Evan, this is going to cross over Interstate 77 between Charlotte and Columbia, even there in Lancaster County. So you need to be on guard there in Lancaster County. I think I heard you just mention Great Falls just a minute ago, but Lancaster, Great Falls, Chester, you definitely need to be in that. And even Winsboro, if you live in the northern parts of Winsboro, maybe near White Oak, be mindful of that, Evan. And again, that there's bright reflectivity. That's got to be some pretty large hail falling, about to fall here in Cornwall. If you live in Cornwall and you may have a minute or two, if you could pull that car in the garage right quick, that might be a good idea because that could be some serious hail that's getting ready to move through Cornwall. Even Great Falls, you need to be on the lookout for that too.
Yeah, that's a great point, Scotty. These areas that are not yet in the tornado warning, now is a great time to prepare. You don't have to wait until the tornado warning is issued to start preparing. Go ahead and move that car. Make sure you've got your safety plan in place because there's a good chance this tornado warning gets extended in the next little while. It is only valid for another 18 minutes, so it's set to expire in 18 minutes, and it will outrun its polygon around that time, potentially even slightly before then, probably around 18 minutes from now. I think they're spot on with that. Lots of lightning, Scotty. We mentioned this earlier. We've got these lightning strikes emanating several miles out in front of the storm. There's one that just came in a full 6.5 miles out ahead of the storm. So we need to, if you're in this polygon, if you're anywhere even near the storm and you can hear the thunder, go ahead and go indoors. Move that car real quick if you're outside of the polygon and run inside and start preparing because this is heading your way between Great Falls, Fort Lawn, Springdale, Lancaster, Heath Springs, I-77 corridor.
Evan, we're looking at this and this could be a situation where it continues to move into this more warm air. I'm just looking at some of these METARs out in front of this storm. I'm taking Camden, South Carolina. You're looking at a temperature of 81 degrees over towards Chesterfield County, near Cheraw. You're looking at a temperature of lost it there, 83 degrees. 79 degrees. So this is really moving into this warm, moist environment, and it's concerning to me because I feel like there's a new the reduction of this tornado warning, but it's concerning to me because these storms have this fuel to work with, that this could be one of those long duration supercells that continue to track over because of this warm air that's being fed into it. So again, Great Falls, Lancaster, if this storm continues to track, you're looking at Chesterfield, maybe even into Union and Anson County. So we're going to have to watch that. And like you said, Evan, if that southern part of this gets going, even down towards Newberry County, north of Columbia, we'll have to watch that as well. So very interesting here to see what happens once it gets into this really unstable but warm atmosphere.
Absolutely. Yeah, so this is still the only storm in the game that we're watching at the moment, that we're watching closely for tornadic development. There are other storms in the Carolinas producing some prolific lightning. If we zoom out just a little bit and flip over to reflectivity, which is a bit more readable for folks, you can see we've got storms with prolific lightning moving into northwestern South Carolina, plenty more moving out of the Georgia area, as well as one moving into, I need to shoot a text off to somebody about that, northern Georgia. So there's lots on the table for us to watch. Thankfully, we only have one tornado warning at the moment, which allows us to focus on this storm just to the south of Chester. This is where Scotty just mentioned it. We saw that reduction to the tornado warning. This is the new polygon that we've got now right here from NWS GSP, I believe.
Evan, after you get that, I'm going to screen share some pictures. We've got a follower who watches us.
Okay.
Austin McCormick. He's went to the University of North Carolina at Charlotte, meteorology, and he is actually down in this area. So I'm going
to go ahead and take it, Scotty. I got to shoot a message.
Let me screen share you some of these pictures that are coming out of the area. This is going to be just north of Joanna. This was just a little bit ago. As the storm approached, and then there's one more that I want to show you. This is going to be in Whitmire. This is the storm that just moved through Whitmire and Carlaw, and you can kind of see that structure there. So this storm right here, again, even kind of looks like maybe a little lower in there behind the trees. So we'll have to continue to watch Austin's page here as he continues to tweet out some of these pictures. But I wanted to bring your attention and look at this storm. And again, I guess I need to share my radar first to show you what I'm talking about, but get the right radar source here. You can kind of see these two distinctive higher reflectivities, and these are hail cores. And what I was talking about, if these two can kind of get a little break in between, I'm worried because they could produce into two storms instead of this one that we are watching. Again, the tornado warning for Fairfield County has been expired. The thinking is that the circulations are going to stay north. So the only warning now is Chester County. This includes Chester South along Highway 321, getting ready to cross 321 near Blackstock and Cornwell. Again, large hail. We had reports from the Weather Service there. They were documented, or they were alerting for up to golf ball size hail, as well as this possible rotation that's moving through. So we will continue to watch this storm as it moves along the Highway 321 corridor. And it looks like we have a new mesoscale discussion that could possibly come out for later on. So I'm going to see if I can get that pulled up here. Sometimes it takes a little bit of... So this is, Evan, bad news. You ready for some bad news? Here we go. Let me screen share this. This was round one. We have a meso discussion out for round two. Risk for severe storms, including the possibility of a couple tornadoes later on this evening. And this is going to be for South Carolina, southwestern North Carolina, northern Georgia. This is the actual storms that are moving out of Alabama that's produced some tornadoes. So I'll be honest with you, Evan. I didn't know that this first, well, not that I didn't know, but I didn't think this first initial batch of moisture would be producing these rotating thunderstorms. I was more worried about what was coming later on tonight, where that mesoscale is now covering. But this first batch, that popped up these tornado warnings. So kind of caught us a little bit, at least me, a little off guard, because my attention was focused more on to the evening and over a night hours and not really the afternoon hours.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you said it best. We've got 2 rounds to deal with. And that second round will be coming through after dark, which is always unfortunate. We never want to see tornado warnings come to the Carolinas at all. But when it's after the sun sets, it's very difficult to deal with. Folks can't see it. The threat doesn't seem real until it's literally right on top of them. So we're going to be watching that throughout the night. We'll be here to keep on with updates. We certainly hope that all the tornado warnings get dropped so we don't have to spend this time doing this with you. But nonetheless, we will be here if those tornado warnings are issued. And Scotty, yeah, I mean, we did have this first round, which there were certainly signs yesterday, looking at the models, that there was going to be the potential for rotating storms. But this, especially this storm that's moving towards Chester currently, is, wow, it's significant. Moving just south of Chester. Pardon me. Let me not lump it in.
Definitely so, and we know that this mesoscale discussion that's just been issued for southwestern North Carolina, upstate South Carolina, and northern Georgia, that has a history of producing tornadoes, because that's what's happened in Alabama today. So that's the round that's moving in. So let's go here to what Evan's got, and he's circling the rotation here. This storm that's moving just south of Chester, it's going to be south of Richburg. But if you live in, I think that's Cornwell and Blackstock, you need to be in your safe place.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, Scott. I'd say let's just go ahead for folks that are to the east of this: Great Falls, Heath Springs, Elgin, Springdale, Fort Lawn, Lancaster, Richburg. You guys may be on the north end, but still best to prepare. You guys are not in a warning yet. You have no severe thunderstorm warning. You have no tornado warning yet, but you should go ahead and start preparing as if you are in one. There's a good chance that this gets extended here in a few minutes as this warning begins to expire and moves east out of its polygon. This hail threat is to be taken very seriously. This hail will do damage to cars and potentially even homes and roofs as it passes through. And this is a pretty sizable hail core as well. This whole area in pink and even just these dark purples are quite concerning here to the southeast of Chester as it moves to the east. We had a TVS on. That was about 10 minutes ago now. That's a little old, but we do have a broad area of rotation right in here, and maybe even some. See this bulge of strong air right in here. If you flip back over to the super res reflectivity, it's interesting. We may be having a little bit of RFD wrapping around. I'm not quite sure what that is. We have our main area of circulation with a surge of wind underneath it, just to the south, bringing with it this nastiness that's wrapped into the middle of the storm. Nonetheless, the storm is a mess, Scotty. It's not going to be easy to see. You're not going to be able to make out a tornado super well. There's a good chance that it may be rain wrapped if it is occurring. And if it does occur here in the future, there's a good chance that it'll be rain wrapped. So don't wait around till you can see it. Elgin, Springdale, Great Falls, Fort Lawn, Lancaster, Heath Springs. Don't wait until you see this tornado. Don't even wait until this warning gets issued. Go ahead and start preparing now. If you're in the path of this, which you all are, all those names we just mentioned, if you're in the path of this storm, take shelter immediately. Go ahead and head to your safe place, the lowest level of your home, away from exterior walls and windows. Preferably a basement is the best place to hide out during these storms. Bring a helmet with you, bring shoes with you, just in case you have to walk through home debris if in the unfortunate event that your home were to be hit. We certainly hope does not happen, but we want you to be the most prepared that you possibly can be by bringing shoes with you. If you're in a car, if you're in a mobile home in these areas up ahead of the storm, I-77 corridor, Fort Lawn, Great Falls, Springdale, all these cities, move to a more substantial shelter. You are not safe in that mobile home. You are not safe in that vehicle. Go ahead and move out of there and move into a business that you may be passing nearby, or a friend's home, something that is not a mobile home or is not a vehicle, because you will be far safer in one of those more permanent structures than you will be or in a mobile home.
That's right, Evan. That's great advice, and it's advice that you're going to have to continue because we know there's another threat later on tonight. Looking at some of the latest radar trends here, we're here on our radar product here. It kind of gives us a hail indicator of how large the hail could potentially be. And this there's a hail indicator just outside of Blackstock and Cornwall to the east that's showing the possibility of up to 2.17-inch in diameter hail. So that would be larger than golf balls. That's, I think, without having a little chart in front of me, that's approaching teacup size hail. I think is the next step up from golf ball size hail. So we will have to continue to monitor that. The hail threat. I do want to let you know this tornado warning goes until 5:45. There's no indication that from the Weather Service of any extensions of this. We'll definitely keep an eye out on that. This would be coming from the National Weather Service there in Columbia. I do want to say that mesoscale discussion that we were talking about earlier has about a 60% chance of a tornado watch being issued. So that's not a likely, but a possibility that tornado watch will be issued at some point here in the next few hours for that portion of North and South Carolina. But again, watching this, Evan, we're paying attention to the rotation, but also paying attention to the large health threat that is present with this storm.
Absolutely. Yeah. We don't see any super well-defined areas of rotation. We do still have a TVS for the rather broad rotation that's ongoing to the southeast of Chester, to the west of Great Falls. Just got a new radar scan, which is perfectly timed. Flip off these arrows. That was just showing which way the storm is heading. We do have a new TVS on this storm between Chester and Great Falls. It's heading east at a pretty quick speed. I believe somewhere in the range of 55 miles per hour, 50 miles per hour with golf ball sized hail, maybe even a little bit larger, as Scotty just said, right there in the core of this storm, right in here. We're going to see this continue to move off to the east. We should, if it's going to happen, the National Weather Service will issue a new tornado warning here in the next few moments. This warning is set to expire in 5 minutes, and the storm is rapidly approaching the outer edge of its polygon. But yeah, absolutely, Scotty. We're concerned about the rotation. We're concerned about the hail threat with this. This is a very sizable storm for March, very intense. We don't always see this kind of thing in the month of March. So it's something to be concerned about. We remarked earlier that even outside of March, this is an impressive storm for any time of year, even in the peak of severe season as we get into April. So we're quite concerned about this. We're concerned about the tornado potential, about the hail potential. Looking down the line, we'll likely see this tornado warning reissued. If it's not, then we're still going to have a severe thunderstorm warning, I would suspect, for the hail that's ongoing and the frequent lightning. Cities that are going to be impacted by that here in the near future: Great Falls, Fort Lawn, Richburg, Springdale, Lancaster, Elgin, Heath Springs. This thing is moving east, northeast at a really quick pace. So it'll cover the distance between let's pull up reflective and do some measuring and some math, because who doesn't like doing math during severe coverage? If it's only about 9 miles or so from the highway that runs through Great Falls from north to the south to north, that means that storm's going to be there in about 9 to 10 minutes. It'll be short. It's moving at 55 miles per hour, so you do not have much time to prepare. Go ahead, move that car into a sheltered area if you're well ahead of this storm, and then start your preparations by going to the lowest part of your home, most interior room, away from walls and windows. It's a very, very dangerous storm. We don't want anyone to get trapped outside, both because of the tornado risk, the hail risk, and also the lightning. We've seen numerous times today the lightning that's reaching out of the storm. Currently a few miles, but we've seen examples up to 9 miles earlier where this lightning was reaching out in front. That's a very dangerous situation to be in. If you can hear that thunder, go ahead and go indoors.
Yeah, and Evan, there's a lightning uptick with this system, and that normally is indicative of a strengthening system storm as well. So I was looking at some of our hail products here that we have access to, and again, these are all radar estimates. So you take a little bit off of it, take it with a grain of salt, but it's showing anywhere between 2 to 2.25 inch diameter hail that's now falling just to the northeast of Blackstock. You could account for some melting and things like that. But again, 2.25 inches diameter hail, that is seriously going to cause some damage to vehicles, to roofs of homes, to any farm equipment you may have, livestock, some dangerous hail that's moving in. It's about to cross over into southern Chester County, or cross into Chester County here in just the next little bit. So Great Falls, you need to be mindful of that. If you are traveling. Interstate 77, again, very busy part of the day for this thunderstorm to be moving across, especially if it's producing 2 to 2.25 inch diameter hail. I can imagine that Interstate 77 will probably be locked down as that core passes over, with people trying to pull off and avoid the hail. So just be careful of that. Remember, it's never good to clog up those roadways. You may want to get under those bridges, but you're going to clog up the interstate, and then that could potentially lead to numerous accidents. So it's best to find an exit to get off of, and then find safe shelter there. Never pull under those interstate roadway bridges and just kind of block the path, because that is endangering yourself and also the people who are behind you that could cause some accidents. So want to be mindful of that. Evan, we're at 5:43. We haven't seen the extension of the warning. History tells me if we was going to see something, it would have already been issued. So maybe we'll see this tornado warning expire. We'll continue to watch it though here for the next few minutes.
Absolutely. Yeah. And as we watch this, even if that tornado warning is dropped, we will likely see some kind of severe thunderstorm warning issued further to the east for locations along I-77 and to the east. This is where we are seeing that tornado warning currently. It's getting ready to outrun this polygon. So folks further to the west, Cornwall, Chester, and further west of there along Highway 321, Highway 72, you guys are pretty much in the clear now as this moves real close to I-77. We're likely going to see that hail core, which you can't see on this map. We'll show you shortly on reflectivity, where we're going to see that hail core move over I-77 towards Richburg, Fort Lawn, Beckhamville, West Manor, Lancaster. You guys are a little bit further down the line with Springdale, but certainly we still expect the storm to be powering through as it reaches you and potentially producing damaging hail and strong winds. We still have Frank Straight with us. Frank, I don't know if you're available for a quick hit. Your live stream looks complicated. We won't bring you into this if you're busy.
Oh, that's okay. I actually have been trying to find a spot here to get pulled off and look at the radar with y'all for a minute. And hopefully the guy that's backing into this parking space in front of me doesn't hit me. All right. Anyway, I've noticed looking at the radar that there's still some pretty impressive hail signatures there over Chester County, southeast of Chester, with some very high reflectivity. I actually tweeted one out a minute ago where I found one little gate there on the radar showing 76 dBz. I found that to be pretty impressive. You do not see that in South Carolina every day, that's for sure. So the hail risk was there and still is there. Seeing some pretty high reflectivity, still up to about 70 dBz. That's just about to go over I-77. Not a time to be running 80 or 85 miles an hour down that road. I know a lot of y'all do it. Not right now, because, well, right now, yeah, I imagine that hail new scan just came in, and that extremely high reflectivity is now right over I-77. So given the few minutes delay you usually have between the scan and being able to actually look at it on your radar screen, it may actually be starting to move away, but still some torrential rains occurring over the interstate if they're not seeing the hail. But nonetheless, that's a risky thing there. If you were, let's see, around that Great Falls exit 48, that might be a good time to pull off and grab a drink or something and get refreshed a little bit so you don't have to drive through that. Similarly, if you're coming in from the north and you're tired of driving in the rain coming out of the Rock Hill area around Richburg, there's a pretty good full service exit there. You can pull off and not have to hit the worst of the storm and give it 20 or 30 minutes so that it pushes on off to the east and it gets out of your way. Those of you over in Lancaster County, Springdale, Lancaster area, this is heading in your general direction. Looks like it's going to pass over and just north of Great Falls as well. So over there, you have some time to prepare, maybe secure loose items in your yard for potential wind problems and garage your car if you have a garage, or put it under whatever awning you might have to help protect it from the hail as this storm moves your way. But right now, it looks like the main concern is going to be the hail potential with this in the short term. Just some pretty high reflectivity at this point, and some signs from dual pole data that there could be some hail in that area too. Back to you, Evan.
Absolutely. Yep. Thank you, Frank. So that tornado warning has expired and has not been reissued. So we're going to cross our fingers and our toes and hope that does not return and that the rotation continues to stay weak. Let's real quick before we close this stream down. We appreciate everyone tuning in today, but we're going to take a big picture look just real quick at all of the Western Carolinas where we're seeing these storms and flooding rains move through. This storm down here, the bottom right corner of your screen, is the one that was producing and still is producing the significant hail, along with the rotation that had the tornado warning out for so long. You can see some of the damage indicators that were along the way. A report of wind damage with trees blown down on Highway 72, 1-inch hail near Lawrence, and then another one, trees down further to the west of Lawrence. We'll see more of these damage reports filter into the afternoon. But upstate South Carolina, near the Blue Ridge Escarpment in western North Carolina, we're seeing some pretty heavy thunderstorms move through here right now. No rotation to be too concerned about at the moment, which is nice, but we're monitoring those closely. So is the National Weather Service. If we were to flip over to the Atlanta radar, we'd see what we're looking for next. We're going to have the big batch of thunderstorms move into the Western Carolinas overnight. This is what Scotty was mentioning earlier with the new mesoscale discussion. We're going to have to watch this batch of storms, and particularly even the ones that are still down here into Alabama as they move up towards our part of the world. They'll be less severe than they are currently as they reach us. The parameter space will not be nearly as conducive for tornadoes, but nonetheless, there's still, I think, a 5% tornado risk out for the Western Carolinas tonight, this afternoon into tonight. So we're going to be careful with that. We're going to watch it. We're going to keep you updated throughout the evening. Currently, all tornado warnings have been dropped, and there is a severe thunderstorm warning real quick. Scotty, I'll read this off, I suppose, since it's still a hailer, and then we can think about winding down.
Yeah, we'll wind down. I do want to say one thing after you read this. I want to kind of show what's going on in Alabama right now, but go ahead.
Okay, yeah, sure. So we do have this new severe thunderstorm warning out for southeastern Chester County and upstate South Carolina. We're really looking at the potential for high winds and large hail here. So they're highlighting ping pong ball-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts as the biggest threat. All this is radar indicated, though the storm has a history of producing damaging winds and hail. So both of those are likely ongoing as we speak. This is going to impact Great Falls, Fort Lawn, Fishing Creek Reservoir, Blackstock, and Richburg, South Carolina. Just outside the warning to the east is Lancaster, Irwin, and Elgin. Those areas will also be affected by the storm over the next hour. It may have a tornado. It does not have a tornado possible tag with it, but we will continue to watch the storm as it develops with 1.5-inch hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds. Get indoors, don't be outside, and be prepared for some wind damage to trees and power lines. Scotty.
Yep, Evan, we're definitely going to watch that. Want to end with this, and I'm going to tell you, this is in Greensboro, Alabama. So if you hear Greensboro, it's not North Carolina. This is Greensboro, Alabama, and this is currently massive tornado moving through the area right now. This is prompting a tornado emergency for West Blockton. And if you have been watching severe weather coverage all day today, they had a tornado emergency about 4 or 5 hours ago. So numerous damaging tornadoes. Unfortunately, there's already been confirmation of some deaths in Alabama. 3 as of right now, but those are very preliminary and definitely we hope they don't rise, but definitely could as these nasty tornadoes continue to move through the area. So kind of give you an idea of what's going to happen for the rest of the evening. Let me stop that screen share. We're going to take a break. We'll probably grab some dinner and eat, and we are going to watch these storms closely. We all have our phones with us. We all have alerts pinged for all of the Carolinas. So if we see another tornado warning pop up, we will pop back in. We will also be watching those storms back over Georgia and Alabama as they move into the area. And we'll be here with you if any of that causes any problems. I will ask you, stay tuned to our social media pages, especially our Twitter page. You'll probably see a lot of tweets from Evan and myself, and we'll be tweeting out some stuff. And we'll stay around here and make sure that you are safe. And Frank, we appreciate your coverage today, and it's been good having some eyes to the sky. And any closing thoughts before we end this part of the live stream?
Just a reminder that we have rough weather moving in tonight. It'll be dark and potentially after many of you have gone to bed tonight. So be sure you have some way to wake you up in the event that you get issued a warning over the Western Carolinas tonight. Have the app of your choice set up to warn you, and have the volume turned up. Make sure that you have those wireless emergency alerts turned on, and also have the plan. Again, the overall threat level for us tonight is not terribly high, but it's there that we can see an isolated tornado or other severe situation with wind and hail. So just asking everyone to be ready. And if you're ready and have a plan, it makes things a whole lot easier if you have that ready to go in advance when the time comes that you're under the warning, and that way you can react on your plan, and rather than having to make the plan when you don't really have time to.
That's right. Yeah, it's always good to have a plan. That way, if you have a plan, you know what to do if a warning was issued. So for Frank Strait and Evan Fisher, I'm Scotty Powell. For everyone else here at the Carolina Weather Group, we hope you have a great evening. Stay weather aware. Stay by your phone. Keep it on standby. If anything else breaks back out, we will break in and give you live coverage. Until then, we hope you have a safe and good Thursday evening.